Boy, oh boy, welcome to another TikTok live. We're having a discussion about reparations. Do you agree with it or not? But first, let's get something out of the way. I heard a Twitter space that was disturbing. Someone sent me a link to a Twitter space, and I don't usually like to talk about Twitter spaces because Twitter spaces are just toxic, in my opinion. I've seen, especially even some of the FBA ones, and I identify as a Foundation of Black American, but even some of the FBA ones, especially when it's led by certain people, certain individuals, and on this channel, they will remain nameless from now on because honestly, given my analytics, I'm way more popular than they are anyway. So, I mean, they're not all that important. But the thing about it is that they sent me that space and I heard it and I said, I don't want anything to do with that. I don't want any connection to that. And I'm glad that certain individuals don't like me. Because to be honest with you, the fact that they don't like me says that I'm a good person. To be honest with you. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, there's a lot of people with this diaspora war nonsense. And I'm just so sick of it. Yeah, I get it. There's definitely some tribal differences between foundational Black Americans or Black descendants of American slaves in different parts of the African diaspora. There's definitely some conversations to be had there, but this idea that we're going to sit here and go at each other's throats 24/7 because you got some kind of weird beef or somebody said something to you or people have been mean to you or people have been mean to our lineage. Yeah, okay. Now you just sound immature. Now you just sound like somebody. And one of the people that's doing this a lot is a person that's running for politics, which that makes it weird because it's like, how do you plan on running for politics when you go around saying stupid stuff like that? You know. But anyways, back to the main topic: reparations. Do you agree with it or not? Tell me, do you agree with reparations? And if not, why don't you agree with it? Tell me using your words. I want to understand the reason why. I want to get into the mindset of somebody who doesn't agree with reparations. I want to understand the reasons why you don't agree with it. And don't use the typical stuff, all right? Typical stuff is stuff like, well, nobody was a slave. Okay, I get nobody was a slave, but I have nothing to do with Israel. I have nothing to do with Ukraine or Russia, but I'm paying for that. So if you say that, I'm just gonna ban you from the chat. Okay? If you're gonna come with original thoughts. Let's actually have the discussion. Don't just throw out simple catchphrases, man. That doesn't push the conversation forward. So I'm just saying, let's have the conversation. If you have more than 1,000 followers, and you want to debate the topic, let's debate it. But I don't want to sit here and go back and forth with a bunch of silly talking points that you heard on freaking Tucker one time, or freaking Fox News one time, or The Hill one time, or from Thomas Sowell one time. Okay? Make an actual argument. Here's your chance. Prove me wrong. But I got a strong feeling that's not going to happen because whenever there's a so-called counter argument against reparations, the counter argument doesn't really make sense. It doesn't really make sense. Rockin' Robin says, if the dollar is about to have no value, should we be asking for land instead? Nope, I want cash. I'm good. That's my answer. I'm good. I'm good because it doesn't matter what alternative you offer, right? I can still make the argument, well, they're just going to sabotage it. So no, I'm good cash. I'm choosing cash. So how will we know if you qualify, if your lineage goes back to Black descendants of American slaves? Very simple. 1870 census, a little bit beyond that, but basically the requirements are pretty much set by the California. I like the standards that the California Reparations Task Force has already set, but Black descendants of American slaves to chattel slavery right here, if you can trace your lineage. Now, some people are going to say, well, what if you can't trace your lineage? Well, not everybody who was Japanese got reparations when Japanese Americans got reparations. So we're not going to do that little silly game. Okay? And if you leave silly comments like that, I'm going to check your profile. I'm going to determine if you're Black or not, and then I'm going to ban you from the chat. Okay? See, I have very little patience for trolling. If you want to have conversations, let's have a conversation. But go and just keyboard warring stuff and just hiding it in the freaking chat, I'm good. Too old for that. Too old for that. So let's have a conversation. Why do you not think reparations should be paid? And if you have more than 1,000 followers, I'm not going to hear the excuses. You're going to hop on or you're going to leave. So let's see. User, Wow, what are you not talking about? Is Africa receiving 55 billion? That's what we need to be talking. I choose the subject of my chat. Thank you very much. And you can leave my chat if you don't like the subject. Now, let's move on to the next comment here. Let's see. If I hear something like every race has been enslaved, I'm just going to bang you from the chat. When I say the original thought, try to come up with an actual argument. That's not an argument. You know it's not. Let's see here. So I'm not black. Is it okay to talk? Sure. So where do we start? I think it should be made. Indica Beat says we should put our money into genealogy to help our lost ones. ISEP says every race has been enslaved. Okay, ISEP, you got to go. See what I mean? No, I don't want that kind of comment in my chat. Sorry, I keep that clean. Let's see here. I'm gonna keep trying to find an actual argument here. Africa getting 55 billion from the U.S. and 22 trillion from China. Interesting. I think rappers should be paid only original Senate 2 Gen Black. Interesting. Yo, bro, here from Michigan. How's your night going? Going great. Let's go to Africa and get those reparations. David Ellingson, hop on to the guest request, sir. In fact, I'm going to see an invite. That way you have no excuse. Don't leave any other comments besides hopping to the guest request, sir. I don't want to hear the excuses either. So let's see. Let's get you in here. Let's go to Africa. What do you mean by that?
Hey, what is going on? How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. You said let's get the reparations and go to Africa. What do you mean?
Yeah, well, to be honest with you, I'm just repeating something that I heard on another live a few minutes ago. There's another live talking about this too, and they were actually discussing going over to Africa where the slaves were actually sold from. So I just wanted to get your opinion on that.
The topic of my live stream is what?
Reparations.
Do you agree with it? Right. So why are you asking me? Why are you asking me? Why are you asking me questions that have nothing to do with what you agree with it or not? See, that's why it's already like a red flag. Right? What do you think about
that's a red flag?
It's a red flag.
To be honest with you right now, I'm kind of on the fence on that one, whether reparations should be paid or not. I don't have a yes or a no on that right now. So
why would you join the chat if you don't have a yes or no? You see what I mean? Like you're here to dissipate the energy. You're here to dissipate the energy. See, I'm gonna mute his mic for a second. He's gonna turn it back on, but you're here to dissipate the energy. You're not here for anything constructive. You're just here to troll. See, you started off with asking me silly questions like, what about going back to Africa? Sir, that has nothing to do with the core question that I'm asking in the very title of the screen that you just joined, and you knew that. I asked that questions about 8 or 9 times, and I actually counted in my head. So you understood that. And you did that just to be a suspected white supremacist troll. That's unfortunate. That's really unfortunate. And the reason why that's really, really unfortunate is because that's not a way to start conversations. That's the way to end them. But you don't start conversations like that. Going back to Africa. Why would I go back to Africa? This is the land that my family built. You go back to Europe or go back to a cave, sir. Jesse Graham. Jesse Graham, how you doing?
Hey, how's it going, brother?
It goes well. So reparations, do you agree with it?
Yes. Yo, I've been following your page, man. I like what you're doing, brother. I really do.
Okay. So, what did you think about the last person that was on?
I just got on. I just got on. I didn't really hear that.
All right, all right. So tell me, reparations, do you think it should be paid in land, cash, what? I personally say cash,
Well,
but what do you feel about it?
I feel cash would be a better option because I think if they would try to give us any land, they'd give us crap. They'd give us some shit like they did the Native Americans in the middle of butt fuck, and it would be hard to do anything with it.
I agree with you. I agree with you, brother. Well, anyways, brother, that's gonna be great. Hey, is there anything else you want to add to the last little bit of message there?
Oh no, I thought we were having a little chat. Like I don't know,
Oh, we,
I don't
we, we
know.
can we can chat. Yeah, sure, 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 sure. I'm just curious though. So I was because again I didn't know if you were like busy or you had to go because most people they just come on like real quick and they just go. You know.
No. I'm a supporter, man. Look,
Okay, okay.
I'm with the black culture. I'm black. I don't know why my video isn't working. I wanted to get that working, but whatever. Yeah, man. Look, I had one question though. What's that red and green upside down flag? What is that? Like, put me on that.
It's
Game me
an
up.
RGB flag. It's an RGB flag. A lot of people don't like the RGB flag, but it's basically in the shape of the U.S. and a lot of people it represents different things to different people. But for me, it represents the fact that we are the soul of the land. Now, the RGB flag itself, a lot of people don't like it because of the origins. Me personally, it's just something to wear.
RGB. Like what?
Red, black, and green.
Okay.
Yeah. It's very. It's like a Pan African type of
Oh,
colorism, but
I feel you. I feel you. Okay.
right.
100.
Right,
100.
right, right. It's a Pan African type of colorism. So, but I'm very curious. What was the content that you liked that I put out?
Man, look, all these it's like you're a newscaster. You keep popping up on my feed and with the black information, and I'm just like, oh shit, look at this. Yo, I love what you're doing, man. That's what I'm saying. Keep going. Look, hey, I want maybe you can get like I feel like you need a little setup. Like, you know what I'm saying, a desk, like, a newscaster, and then when you pop up, it'll just be so, man, look, hey, you need to
No,
keep
no, I
going.
can't go
Keep
see
going with
anything.
what you're doing. Keep going with what you're doing. I'm fucking with it. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
with him
yeah.
too,
Thank you.
bro.
What's going on, Sean? What's going on, Sean?
What up,
Sean
young man? What up?
requests. What's
Yes,
going on? What's
sir.
going on? Salute, salute,
Uh,
salute. Tell me. So, what do you feel about reparations, the current status of it, and what do you think it should come in the form of?
I think it should come in the form of cash,
Got you.
which which is the most lucrative thing that we can use right now. Um, Another thing, they owed us for so many years. You know, it's really hard to accept something that we really don't even know what to do with it when we get it.
Oh, I know exactly what to do with it.
Well,
I know what to
I'm
do with it,
I'm saying
man.
like not I'm not saying it like that. I'm saying like if you give someone something, what is that saying where you teach a man how to fish, he can live for a lifetime. But if you give a man, it's a saying that I just can't grasp on it. But anyway,
I think people have learned to be poor. They'll learn to be rich.
we need a start. We need a booster. I know that. I'm
Yeah,
50.
for
I'm
sure. I mean,
57, man.
I would say for the most part, I used to be on this hardcore thing of well, we got to make sure we do financial literacy. We got to, and it got to the point where it was actually my wife who stopped me. She says, I work as a court reporter, and she says, um, when I look through summary judgments, or I look at when people get paid as a victim with restitution, right? I noticed that the judge never asked them, hey, how are you going to spend this money? So there's no legal precedent for us to even be worried about how somebody's going to spend the money. We don't that we there's over 1 million different court cases every day. I think my wife said well over 300,000 a day, every
So
day.
how long? So how long will it
So
be from the time that we talk about it to the time we get a check?
well, the last I heard of within California now, I can start with California. California, so some of the final suggestions are being made on this week. Now, in terms of the actual signing, it is the projected date could be June of 2023. So that's the last that I saw. But I know for sure something's gonna happen by next year. They're trying to get it done before 2024. Trying to get it. They've already publicly announced that it's gonna get done before 2024. All right. So with that being said, I don't know when checks are gonna get sent out, but it's gonna be approved by 2024.
And
I don't know
who's
when
gonna
checks are gonna go out.
who's gonna dictate this? Like who's gonna dictate who gets paid, who's not getting paid? You know,
There's gonna be all kinds of things that's gonna be brought up, all kind of like special committees and stuff that's gonna be signed up for all this, and the actual base requirement. And usually when I bring this up, right, this is when people start debating me. Listen, I'm just reporting the news. I'm just reporting the news. The
right,
base
right.
requirement is that you have to trace your lineage to chattel slavery on these lands. People say that's hard. That is a lie. I
So
researched this for a living.
where do we start to do that?
Well, you would start with ancestry.com. That's the easiest way to go.
Okay, and that's what about $100?
Sometimes cheaper, depending on what your discounts are. Now, with that being said, you could also, if you're going to be linked to chattel slavery, there's a good chance that you're linked down to South Carolina. Okay, South Carolina Archives, that website, um, I can look it up for you real quick. That's also a content creator. You got to look up. His name is Walt Way. Walt Way. Walt Way specializes in helping people looking up their lineage. He runs the Bristol English Project. The Bristol English Project is a project that he designed himself that helps people look up their lineage. Like actually goes and pulls the 1870 census and starts
Right.
pulling in people's family trees. And the best part about ancestry, in sites like the Bristol English Project and all and basically all that stuff is that if you understand how breeding populations work, you don't need a whole lot of people to make a whole lot of offspring. Because back then, people had 8, 9, 10, 11 kids, right? So
13,
you may
13 and
find
under.
out,
Yeah.
yeah, you may find out that you're related to all kind of freaking celebrities. Like I'm related to freaking Kevin Durant, Zion Williamson. I mean, a lot of cats. Which Zion
I'm
Williamson, that was a
embarrassed.
shocker.
I'm embarrassed who I'm related to. I wouldn't even
Nah,
Yeah.
say it. I ain't even gonna put it out there.
You could also, they don't just pull from slavery records. They also pull from Native American records because a lot of Native Americans had us as slaves too.
Right.
A lot of them did. In fact, in some parts of the country, like they tried to downplay. They try to downplay it. But let me tell you
hey,
how prolific slavery was for Native Americans. The Trail of Tears, right? The real
Yeah.
story behind that is that it was a lot of us who passed away on the Trail of Tears. That's how prolific it actually was.
Wow.
So they try to like downplay it, but it's very very common. Um,
but the thing is, the Indians had us as slaves when the Americans gave us to the Indians as slaves as retribution, but we didn't get any of the money that they got out
yeah,
of that, even
yeah,
if you were held as slaves by Indians. So it's
no,
just a fuck all.
Right.
yeah. That's how it tends to be. I mean, it's not like I'm not gonna make this stream. I have a problem with native tribes. I have no issue with that. What my issue I've had with tribal leadership and not breaking bread with black people because you understand that you do owe us, and the idea that you don't say anything when people falsely eject you into our reparations conversations, the fact that you're sitting there hearing this and you say nothing, yeah, I do hold them to that now. That's wrong.
Right.
That's wrong. People are using you as a weapon against us, and you say nothing. No. You are complicit then.
Right. Right. I agree.
Yeah, that's just awful, man. Like, and the fact that people like Don Cheadle, the famous actor, right?
Right.
Don Cheadle, yeah, his family, when he actually went to go research his family, they were on the trail of freaking tears. It was
What
natives
the?
who actually owned them.
No shit.
Parts of my family. That's the young case. A lot of my family don't actually know. But the reason why I got people in Kansas City, Missouri, and Oklahoma, and all over the place is because of the natives.
Right.
They owned us, and this is why whenever someone brings up reparations and you mention Native Americans, there's no and I had to actually shout at someone. I'm like, there's no way that you're gonna explain this and make it sound good. Just stop. You understand my family is directly affected by that. Bow out.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
you're not even black. You're freaking
They
white.
gonna fight you tooth and nail every
They not
time.
God
taking us. They not
damn.
taking us serious right now.
Like I'm like, okay, I know what you're doing. You're trying to undermine us because the second that we agree to that, you know what you're gonna do. You're like, whoa, well, you say Native Americans? Well, guess what? Haha, I'm part Native because every white person out there says that they are part freaking Native. You're not gonna fool us. You're not gonna say it in a way that's gonna actually convince us. You're not gonna send somebody who's black amongst us and says, well, I don't agree. I think you being freaking bigoted. We don't care. We
Right.
don't care at this point.
Right.
Bro, we done been criticized so much to the point where you don't have any weapon against us. At one point, you could shame us, but we've been shamed so much to the point it's
Man.
like, bro,
Man. When they gonna stop?
yeah.
Hey,
I'm 57. When they gonna stop? It's been going on since I've been born in 1965. This shit just fucking still going on.
Exactly, man.
it's
When
never
they
gonna
gonna
stop.
stop? They
When they
taunt
gonna
us.
stop, bro?
When are they gonna stop? Fuck, it's a good thing they paying us something, but when are they gonna stop
Hey,
and
but
leave
this
us
is a good
alone?
talking point. This is a good talking point because look, it's like this for a reason. Why you think they come against all of us all over the nation, every country? Like it's like this for a reason now. You got to think
Mm-hmm.
deeper in the whole spectrum of everything. All these white folks, they come after brown skin like it's hey, it's man. Look,
I'm gonna wake the white folks up right now that's listening. My mother is white and my father is black, and to go in society
It
with
was going to
both of these
say
connections
percentage. Let
and
me
to
see.
make it through it in South Central Los Angeles was hard as hell. It was so terrible that I never understood. I was so blind to real knowledge of our people is because I was lost in the system of who the fuck I was, who I am. We called
How
the mixed breed.
how did you
But
find out?
So someone asked the question of is it gonna be based on percentage? Um, there's no
No, blood
percentage.
quantum. So
Yeah,
blood
go ahead.
quantum, and I'm an Aborigine American Indian. We are Choctaw, Blackfoot, and Apache. My dad is Apache. My grandfather is Cherokee, and my mom's lineage. My direct lineage, the women in my family are Choctaw. Um,
you're
it's
real.
never gone off of blood quantum, and it doesn't go off of blood quantum based on
Is it
the
gonna
Dawes
stop?
rolls. And when the Dawes rolls happened in the first place, and I'm just saying this to the person who said, "Is it going to go off of percentage like the Native Americans?" So the Asians, when I say Asians, I mean the Chinese, the Germans, and the Russians and the Irish paid 5 shillings to get on the Dawes rolls, and then they mixed with our people, and it gave them quote unquote safe harbor. That is
Because
why
they
they
was
cannot do
mixed.
blood quantum on the reservations, because it would be discovered that they are not actually native.
Wow.
Um, so no, it is never going to do that because they would have to participate.
And
Who
and here's and
who
here's my question, right? You notice how I didn't even bring up natives the whole time. Like I brought up natives later on, but I brought it up only when someone in the comment section brought it up. Notice how whenever we talk about black reparations and our struggle, it's always going to come back to some other group. Bro, we're talking about us. Stop injecting your people or any other people into our business. Good Lord.
Yeah.
Good Lord. We can't have the black girl follow train. We can't have the black king follow train. We can't have the Black Panther Party. We can't have hip hop. We can't have clothing. We can't have our own saying. We can't even have a live stream
That's
about
the part I
reparations
can't
without
understand
somebody
why they
injecting
keep
other
fucking
groups.
with us because we that
God
special.
dang.
We
Well,
special.
So, yep.
it's if you look at the history of this country and the people that came here, the people that came here were the lowest of the low in the societies that they came from. So when they came here, they said, there's people lower than us because they know less than us. So we are going to overtake them. And then they appointed themselves the supreme beings because in their country, they were not considered that. They wanted to be the aristocracy, they wanted to be the monarchy. And that's all this is. It
Right.
has nothing to do with what people think it has to do. And it all has to do with ego.
That
Right.
money would be gone so fast. It's crazy, man. It's really
It'll
nothing.
be gone fast, but that's
It's
not the
really
point though. Is
nothing.
the point is just like it's just like that. I look at people right like I hear people say all the time like well they're just gonna waste the money. It's just gonna go this and that. I'm like okay, don't tell me that the average chick having the dude locked up for missing one child support payment wouldn't take $233,000. Don't tell me that the average black man working a dead end job who can't get a
Oh, we take
get
it.
a freaking date.
We
You
gonna
know,
take
Your
it.
ancestors
don't you
paid
tell
money for
me he's not
your ancestors
gonna
paid
freaking take
money
that now.
for land
Stop
that
that.
wasn't
Yeah, that's what we
theirs
gonna
to
take.
pay for.
Like people are sitting there making these crazy arguments. It's like, bro, I know you're a government op. No black
Yeah,
person is making this argument.
but
None.
do you feel like I feel like if you take peanuts and you don't get what you actually deserve at the end of the day, you still fuck.
Yep.
You
Can I
still
ask you a
fuck.
question?
The money gonna go
Can I ask
back
you a
to these
question?
white folks. If you don't direct where the money is gonna go, if you
Yep.
don't communicate with the black
No, no.
diaspora, if we don't spend with each other, if look, the money's gonna go fuck else.
It's
It
no
might
Um,
problem in
help. It might
California
help a
that's worth
little
Can I ask you
bit.
a
It
question?
might help
Did
a
you do
little
that
bit
with
for
your
the
with your
future
stimulus check?
black.
Did you do that with your stimulus check? Because I
your
didn't.
your ancestors were not
I
able
Man,
mean,
the
to
stimulus
afford
check
it.
was gone
I
as soon
didn't.
as they sent it.
I
the
didn't.
stimulus check was nothing compared to that
So
amount of
if
money.
you won the lottery
Your
right now,
ancestors were
if you
deep
won the
probably
lottery right
depressed.
now, right? Yo,
Yeah.
so the first thing that you're
It'll
gonna
be
do is
more
charity.
terrible for you
No,
if
you
you won
going
a
to the
lottery.
club, you going to the mall, you going
No,
to
no,
the
no, 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 no,
dealership,
no,
you
no, no,
going to get
not
some
me.
houses, you going
See,
to get some
Yes,
and that's the
lakes.
houses.
difference. That's the
Yes,
difference when
houses.
you young. When you young,
Houses.
you think like that. But when you older, you done lived your life, man. Right now is
Yeah.
really material stuff is nothing, man. I'm just trying to enjoy breath,
I think that if I
breathing.
were to go talk to the average 70, 80, 90, 100-year-old, and if I asked them, hey man, if I gave you $200 million, what you gonna do with it? Oh, I'm going to the club, I'm going to the dealership, I'm going to buy a
70,
brand new
80.
bro. Come on, man.
Nah,
Like we
I
gotta
think
you
keep
a
it
have
real
it.
70,
here.
80, and a 90-year-old are
I
going to the
might even
club.
donate it. You know what I'm saying? On the real, man. It might even get donated, you know?
Man, listen,
Nah,
Because
listen.
man,
I work.
you
My
need to help
primary
create
job is
wealth
feeding the
back to the
homeless,
black
man.
community.
But
I
I
am a
think we need to
professional
start.
activist,
This is
and
what I
even I
think.
wouldn't do that. Come
This is
on,
what I
man.
think, y'all. This is what I think. I think right now
AB
we
is
should take
crazy.
the black currency and take it serious and spend it with our own people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Show them how we matter in the world. Let us
I
grow,
think.
let us raise each other, and let us grow with each other. We don't have to live with each other, but let us help each other grow.
Yeah, true, true. I feel you on that.
I want to
We
hear
don't
what
Here's
have
what
to
I
President
live
think,
with
though.
each
Carter has
Here's
to
what
other.
I
say.
think. Here's a more an even more revolutionary idea. Give black people the money and just be quiet. Say nothing.
You selling
Hmm.
shirts, buy them.
Yep.
You
The
don't wear
dollar
them,
is as it
still
grows.
buy them. Somebody else might wear them. Pass them along. You know,
The most revolutionary idea is to give black people what we are owed and then leave us alone. Don't tell us nothing else. Trust me,
that's
that is
it.
the one thing that we have not tried. The
We've
one
been
thing we haven't
told what
tried.
to do since day one. When I was going to elementary school, they was still swatting us. These kids don't even know nothing about a SWAT. They telling the parents don't do nothing about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. That
I'm
is true.
Generation X. We was the generation that was fighting these people for putting their hands on us. So they had to
Yeah.
stop that. Then we was the crew that came and said, hey, we can't put our hands on our chest and say, I pledge allegiance to the flag. For what? I believe in a God. So that was our generation that changed a lot of shit and went through a lot
Yeah,
of shit. And
I
now
want
they're
to ask
talking
you
about
guys.
giving us money. Now they finally talking about giving us money. They talking about giving
Yeah,
Africa money. Why did it get to this
I want to ask
situation?
you guys that though. Why? Why
Why?
do you guys think that there's a sudden push for reparations now at this point?
Because they know it's some shit about to happen.
There,
Be-
I feel
because
like
it's
there's
a
a up.
We waking
Come
up.
on.
it's a
We
way to get
waking
Let's
up.
votes.
let the
Go
lady
ahead, y'all.
It is a
speak.
Go
way to
ahead.
get votes because according to the Constitution and according to the way that the Supreme Court, um, what's the word that I'm looking for, interprets the Constitution, reparations cannot be given based on race. It is
On
a
nation.
talking point. It is that is
Right.
it. That is all. Now
Right.
each individual state can do what they want, but as a whole, for it to be a federally mandated thing, it has already been interpreted by the Supreme Court uh, during actually after the ending of slavery that race-based money cannot be given.
Lineage based, correct?
No, race-based
Race.
No,
because
no. I'm
Race.
talking
Race
about
is just a word.
the way they
no,
actually
it said
can do it.
race. No, no, no. The opinion said right. I'm saying what the
Oh,
opinion said. It
Right.
said
right,
money given based on a person's race cannot. It is illegal according to the United States Constitution.
right.
So to me, it is just a talking point. It is not
Mhm.
something that they are going to do. But the flip
Right,
side of that is that alleged slaveholders who were going to be quote unquote losing money were given money for the ending of slavery. So
right,
it can be argued from that point that okay, well, if you can give them money, then you can give the people who work the jobs for forever for no money the money. You can
right,
give their descendants that money, but then it
right.
becomes an issue of who does this money go to?
Okay. I think that the California one, the reason, and we've already had this discussion. So, um, the reason why it's legal in
Yeah, the state can.
California is because it's not race based; it's lineage based. See, it's not just that you are black because if we just made it a blanket allowance of anyone who's black, that you get it, then yes, it would be absolutely illegal and it would not be allowed. It would be struck down the second that someone would have actually bring an actual Supreme Court challenge, and it probably wouldn't even have to go that far. It'd probably go like federal court, and it'd be like freaking like struck down. It's lineage based now. You have to
Really
actually
quick,
trace your lineage.
really
Right. Go ahead.
quick. So they paid the Japanese based on them being put in internment camps. They paid them based on the mistreatment, not because they were Japanese. They just so happened to be Japanese who suffered the internment camps. I also want to say, people are colors, not colors or misnomers. I know that I am going based off of the opinion that I read from the Supreme Court, and
Mhm.
that's not even what I'm arguing.
Right.
African leaders were given $55 billion for the original sin. I am going to need you to put where that is so that I can read that myself.
Right.
Not going to
I
go
did
based
actually
off of what you
report
said.
on that.
And also in the Constitution, it says that they will help all nations. That is why money goes out of this nation every single year to aid in wars and relief efforts and infrastructure and building people's militaries because it is in the United States Constitution that they are going to do such.
Well, two things. Number one, the 55 billion that was given to Africa, that was widely reported. That was Joe Biden gave that,
He
and he
said,
did apologize for what he called America's original sin. So I can show you real quick.
Yes,
Uh,
please.
to Africa, but I can show you actually on screen. I can show you for original sin. I'm gonna make sure I get the original sin quote in there. Yeah, there we go. Right there. Let's put the camera angle. I'll show you. It's
If it's on your phone, you could do a green screen.
yeah, there you go. But it's right there.
My nation's original sin for the delegation of African leaders for the individual slavery and offer them. Huh. So
Yeah,
I
it
gotta
just
read.
happened.
I have to read the bill on that because Joe
Right.
Biden doesn't decide that, Congress does.
Right, right. Well, he the thing is
It
that
should be
the
based
reason
on
why he's
lineage
doing it. Right,
skills.
go ahead.
I'm
Go ahead.
sorry, I was laughing at a comment. It said it should be
Go
based
ahead.
on lineage and dance skills. I wouldn't get anything. I'm just telling you now, I would get nothing.
I'm out of there. Out of there, Emma.
I
Okay,
would
that
get
was funny. I ain't gonna
nothing.
lie.
Yeah.
I'm just curious about when they do the
That was a
reparation,
good one. I ain't gonna lie.
are they going to base it off like they did with the Native Americans, and you have to be a certain percentage?
Right.
No, no,
Again,
no.
that
Even
whole
if you are
thing.
so-called quote unquote mixed, you still count. And the thing about it is like this whole thing. Listen, I've been through this whole argument of it being unconstitutional. This is why I say if you actually, and again, the reason why I know so much about the Reparations Council in California is because I've actually got people
Genealogy.
who are peeping it, who are legal professionals. We've already been over the whole thing of it being race based. There's a reason why it's not race based. It's based on lineage. Not every black person is going to qualify. That's the only time it will be illegal. See, all these people saying, we'll add the people from the Caribbean, add people from this country and that country. Those are ops because they know what's going to happen. They know the second that you do that, it's going to be legally challenged. It's going to be blocked. The second that you add Native Americans, the second that you have people from the Caribbean, second you have people from freaking South America, from the African continent, only black descendants of American slaves right here. If you make
No, I
it
know.
just like that, it's targeted.
I got a better understanding about it though.
He said Obama would not qualify.
I'm just talking about with when they did land to Native Americans and certain payments to Native Americans, they made a condition that you could only be so many generations or so much percentage of being Native American. Like my family's Native American and then Spanish, so a lot of my family came over in the like 1920s from Spain, immigrated over, and then the rest of my
Well,
family's always been here.
the difference between us and Native Americans is that there's not whole tribes of black people who own Native Americans. Okay, and so that's why the whole percentage thing doesn't work. See, there was a certain amount of tribes that were allowed to roam free. Okay, you were allowed to read. You weren't stopped from that. Okay, so there's no percentage of us that didn't suffer. We all did. There was
We
there was there
still
was no
suffer.
percent. That's why the whole percentage thing doesn't work for us because it doesn't matter what percentage of black descendant of American slave that you were. If you come from that lineage, you were all treated the exact same. Every
They
last
owe
one of
us
you.
more than that. I could tell you that much.
And so basically,
Man,
when it comes
That
to
200 and
some of the
something ain't
payments and
nothing,
stuff
man.
and
it's
some of the
You
actual
can't even
innumerable.
buy a house in California with that.
So so basically, when it comes to payments and everything else, even if you are quote unquote mixed race, you still qualify. So long as you can, so long as you can trace your lineage. Now, that in of itself is going to cause a problem. You want to know why? I can tell you the top three problems that's going to
You're gonna
cause.
really find out who you are.
Yeah. First thing is people are gonna pretend like they can't find out who they are, and those people are typically lying. Okay.
200 some thousand. I don't want to know who I am. I'm just
Right.
black.
Right.
But
Second problem that's going to cause is for the mixed race kids, you're going to have people say, well, reparations it would go towards the white mama, right?
Nah, let me go
But
to
then,
her.
hold on. But let me go ahead and shoot down all those people right now. So let me get this straight. You have no problem with a black man being locked up for missing one payment, but let that same white mama who had that same black man locked up, let that white mama get some money. Now all of a sudden you got a problem with it.
Right.
Listen, people, stop. We are in a power position. Stop coming up with these silly Mickey Mouse, X-Files, History Channel, Where's Waldo, Carmen Sandiego, silly excuses to not get paid. You are in a power position. You don't sit here. Listen. If someone walked up to you right now and handed you $100 bill, you're not gonna sit here and argue with them. You're gonna just take it.
No.
No, I'm gonna definitely ask questions. I'm gonna
No.
ask
Uh,
the
Look, bro,
question.
chill out.
okay.
I'm gonna ask
Okay,
the
bro. Okay,
question.
bro.
What you want
We
me to
don't
Okay,
need
do?
bro.
to take. You don't need to take. You
Okay, bro.
don't need to take the peanuts, bro. We need
Okay,
more
bro.
than that, and we need
Those
to
are
have a
peanuts.
nation. We need to have a
Okay.
nation to
I'll
even
take your
receive
peanuts
the
then.
money.
How about that?
We need to have our own nation, like my brother said. We need our own,
Yeah, we need our
basically
own nation.
our own city, our own county,
Yes,
Well,
our
I agree
own
with
yes,
that. I agree
state,
with that. I agree with that. Yeah, I
our
agree
own
with that.
dealerships, our own
Yeah.
yes.
stores, our own
Everything,
malls,
everything.
Yeah.
own gas
Honestly
stations.
though,
We own
honestly though,
oil and they
I
can't
was
even.
hoping.
My bad, y'all.
Oh no, I was hoping that some of the black natives would kind of help us out with that, really, like kind of like show us the way, give us like a kind of like a blueprint or like a roadmap, you know. So what do you think about that, sister?
um, so give you a roadmap. So the issue is that there are no more treaties, and there would have to be a treaty. And
Okay.
the United States Congress passed a bill that said that there will be no more treaties written for
Wow.
anyone. Um,
Well,
so
we got to change
again,
Congress.
to be,
Mm.
huh?
We have to change Congress. We have to change the Senate. We got to change a lot of these people, you
But
know?
to change that, you would
Yep.
have to change the Constitution.
We're going to have to.
Yeah.
We got to go to work.
Yeah.
We have to get busy. If we want to
Well,
do
yeah.
all this for the next generations after generations, we have to do it now.
Yeah. You're
See,
gonna
the
have
thing
to.
is, I feel like you all are talking about the wrong thing. You all are talking about monetary reparations. If you all wanted reparations, you would be talking land. You would be talking oil rights. You would be talking
That's what I'm
mineral
talking about.
rights.
There you go.
You
There
would
you
I
not
go.
be
mean,
talking monetary because the dollar is, well, the
It's,
last
you
time
could
I
burn it
checked, the
up.
dollar was at negative 1 cent.
What land do you think they're gonna give you or give us
To
specifically?
Um,
me, it
but see,
don't
this is
matter.
the
It's still God's
What
land.
land rights? Where?
but this is
Where?
the but this is
Let
the
us
thing.
make a choice.
Wait. Let me finish. There is land all over this country that is not being utilized.
Good
well,
land?
okay.
There is
They're
there is
not gonna give
land
us that
all over
land.
this country that is
Good
not being
Give
utilized.
us
So
Beverly
There's a
Hills.
so
whole
the
bunch of
thing
food that's not being eaten, but there's a whole bunch of homeless
land?
people.
Give
I
us
know, but
Beverly
no, but this
Mm-hmm.
is
Hills.
my thing.
True.
If you all want to start your own
Let us
I
start
don't
in
want to say
Beverly
ethno state.
Hills.
I don't want to say ethno state because that's not the right word.
Right.
But if you all want
Right.
to start your own state, there are ways to do it. And it is actually not that difficult. You just got to have a post office, and you have to have a post office is one of the things, and you can apply for a zip code, and it's really easy. There's like a couple hundred Caucasian people who have done it, and it is
Oh,
their own little places. Um,
how
You
about
so
can put me
how
on
about
the
the black
agenda. I'm
people?
down with that.
Has there been any
black
black
guy who
people?
there was one black guy who did. He was like in his 70s, and I think he was like the last person in his city
So
in
how
his
long was that ago?
the 80s. So nobody's done it
Okay.
since.
See, listen, sister.
I was in
No, what
high
I'm
school
saying is
then.
it's
Shit.
possible. I'm
That's a long
It's
saying
time ago.
possible.
it
It's
is
possible. It's
possible,
possible.
and the thing is that
Right.
there are places all over this great country that are not being utilized. It takes a scouting, it takes work, and then
Yeah,
you
we need to
go
Google
and
it.
you talk to
Okay.
Congress. No, you talk to Congress and you make them hear your voice. You say, no, this is what we want. We don't want you to give us money. Well, we got that. We want land because what do they say?
Mm,
The wealth is in the land. Wealth is
right.
in land ownership.
Mm. I have to push back a little bit. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Well, two things. I
Untillable
will
land.
accept I will accept your suggestion if you solve the water crisis in Flint, Michigan and Jackson, Mississippi, because that is exactly what would happen.
It would happen if you all let it happen.
It's not about let.
You
Okay.
would be the stewards of your own land. You would be the masters of your own destiny,
I'm
so to speak.
originally from South Carolina, and I'm currently in Washington State. South Carolina and North Carolina and Washington State has had intentional attacks on the power grid, despite having millions of dollars in law enforcement. What in the world do you think that we're going to do that's
And
any
those are
freaking
all a
different?
part of the union. You would not be a part of the union.
But I'm saying in terms of
Wow.
protecting that, you wouldn't be able to stop that, and that's the point. They would intentionally target a black state. What I'm saying is let's give us all cash. That way, if we want to actually do that idea, we can still do that particular idea.
But cash
But
only has
but
value
this
as but listen, cash only has
right.
value as long as the people buying into the system give it value. Once
I
that
say
no
give
longer
it
has
all.
value, you're
So do
fucked.
you have any?
Don't just give
Do
us
I
a
have what?
picture with the
Land?
frame without the
Do you have
picture.
cash?
Do I have cash?
Yes.
Yes, but we also have vast amount of land. We have land in
So
Mississippi,
why would you use
Alabama,
cash if you don't even like believe in it?
because we have wealth. Our wealth is our land.
Okay, but hold on. So now you're telling me to not take something that you freely use every day.
I'm not telling you not to take something. I'm saying you're going about it the wrong way.
Yeah, she didn't say not take it.
I said you're going about
Well,
it the wrong way. You all keep focusing on the cash aspect. Cash, 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 cash. But what is
well,
That
yeah.
everybody saying? What do you see every day? People
that
have
should come
built
with the program.
generational wealth with land, houses,
With
mineral
lots of
rights,
cash.
40
things like that.
acres.
Huh?
Where does that change? Why does that have to change? Where's our 40 acres? One
Well, the
person can
thing
take
about
40
that
acres.
is, I could accept that in a time in which you didn't have drones, you didn't have mass sabotaging of land, you'd have all stuff. But the thing is that I brought up Jackson and Flint, right?
Hmm.
And no one so far in the past 5 minutes has come up with an answer for that.
I've
The
never
fact
been
that that
out
could
there.
happen to any
Yeah,
black town, in fact that you can't show me a
yeah.
single
Again,
black
you're talking
town
about
right
places in the
now.
union. I'm talking about a way to get you out of the union, out of your
But that's
jurisdiction.
gonna take forever. You're talking about
You're
some kind of hamster wheel stuff. If you can't show me how that can work right now,
I'm telling you about something that my mom is doing right now with the Iroquois Confederacy. Like I'm
okay,
not. You're not really. Maybe I'm not explaining this in the best way, and
right.
that
I,
could
I
be
just want to
because it's
understand. Like,
3:50. No, I said maybe it's me. Maybe I'm not explaining it in the best way. But what I'm saying is, you getting the land and not putting it in the union. You don't have to be a part of the union. How can they
okay.
sabotage something that they have no access to? You can have your own power grid, you can have your own water system. You don't
By
have
the
to be
way,
a part of the union. You can get land and say, look, this is the land that we want. And no, we are not going to be a part of your union.
okay.
So
And
why
I'm
couldn't
going
it be
to
both? Why couldn't
huh?
it be both?
I'm
Because
going to
when you
hold
are
on, hold on.
part of the
Let
union, then
me
they
hit
can tell
pause.
you what to do,
Let
and
me
then
hit
you're
pause here
not
for a
getting
second.
what you all
Okay, go
want.
ahead. Go
I'm
ahead,
gonna
my
hit
brother.
pause here for a second. First, when we're talking about reparations, the
Every
reason
damn
why I
body
don't
sitting on the
want
stage.
land,
That's
I don't want to hit here land is
mm-hmm.
because when I ask you a question of several sabotages, you don't give me a direct answer to that.
Right.
I asked you three different questions. First
Okay.
question was Jackson, Flint, and then show me one single black owned area in or out of the US, in any continent, that wasn't sabotaged eventually. Show me one. Just
What do
one
you mean
example.
by
Just one.
sabotage?
Yeah. What do you
Destroy.
when?
Uh, are you going to sit here and pretend like you don't understand what sabotage means when I say African and black lands?
Against the government.
Well, I know out here in Los Angeles, there's a lot of black areas,
Can
bro.
you show me one, just one, that
Windsor
wasn't
Hills.
destroyed, colonized, or sabotaged? Or all three?
Nah, they still exist. They ain't been sabotaged.
I know
They
out here
still
they had a
exist.
boil water advisory. I know they was fucking with the water, putting shit in it, and that ain't right, y'all.
There is
Where
not a
where
Nah,
at?
single
that
You talking
that
black
about
ain't
South
owned
right.
Central?
space in any continent that
That ain't
hasn't been
right.
colonized, sabotaged, or put into slavery. Not one. And that's including Australia.
Well, Australia was a penal colony.
It still falls under that though. The people who were the native Australians there, they were put into chains. They were beaten. They were subjugated. They were actually colonized. There are people who were there for centuries.
Oh, I know.
Well, this is
And
what
so
happens when you live in a place
basically,
that's called a
we
corporation.
we are being. I feel like this is almost because again, I worked for the government for so long.
Mm-hmm.
I was a 25 Bravo for the military. I was an
Okay.
information technology specialist, and so I understand government propaganda when I'm hearing it. And this is why I keep asking questions, and you never really give me answers. Notice that.
Well, I can't answer for what y'all. I can't answer for y'all because
Who do you work
I'm
for?
just, huh?
Who do you work for?
I work for myself.
Okay, I'm gonna have you. I'm gonna bid you a good night because I think that you're not who you say you are.
Oh
Because the
shit!
one thing that I'm noticing, right? You start to see this very often, right? You'll get these people who will inject these certain narratives, and then when you press them on it, they never directly answer a goddamn question.
Wow, I
Notice
didn't
that,
pay
right?
attention to it like that.
Yeah.
You sharp on that. See, you got that military
Yeah.
skills.
Yep.
I think the money
Wait.
makes for it.
I didn't pay attention to it, so he
You
did.
gon' you gonna sit here and say, I
She
say,
was real
okay,
intelligent.
so you want me to get land? I say, okay, show me one piece of land that white supremacists have not sabotaged. Just one,
Shit, they doing
in
it right now,
in
man.
any continent.
They still
She couldn't
sabotaging.
name one, and knows how I kept asking the question, but she would never answer the question, no matter how many times I asked.
Logistically, it wouldn't make sense to
Somebody
do
said,
that
"Yeah, I was sick of her."
cash because
That was cool.
So
logistically, you
what?
can't get everybody that's in the black community to agree on one place to live in one state. It's where some people would be like, "Yeah, I want land and live in have our own country," but then like my cousin, she's not going to want to go live in this country. She'd rather just have the money.
And also Hood Goods. I'm gonna screenshot your comment. I want you to know something. Hood Goods also knows something too. Hold on. He knows something too. Knows that someone was whispering. Someone was whispering to her. That's a freaking agent, y'all. We just heard a government agent because I was thinking. I said something in the background sounds like a walkie-talkie. It sounds almost like radio chatter. But then later on, it started sounding like basically a little bit lower, a little bit lower.
So
And
this is
some of
how
the
they
stuff,
infiltrate us.
Yeah.
yo, I was like,
Yep.
I said, ma'am, the way you're answering the questions is the way that I was trained. You never directly answer the question, and you always deflect. And hold on, basically, this is basically called the box and poke method. So basically, it's kind of like a sword and shield method of having a conversation. You never admit to anything. You deflect and then attack. Notice that in every statement that she was making, she was deflecting. Hold on. She would never actually answer the question, deflect, and then turn it back on you. In every answer. Every
Yeah,
answer.
I agree with you that it should be a cash amount. They should figure it
I
out.
mean,
Give
no man wants to turn down any money, especially in this day and time. But
Right.
it's actually like the young man said, it's peanuts, man, compared to what they can give us, man.
Yeah, I mean, is that
We
like, are
all
they
could
just
get a
trying to get
couple
over it?
million apiece, man. I mean, I'm just saying, who's ever qualified, bona fide? Because that's all I've been living all my life. Are you qualified or bona fide? So you just
Dignified.
have, you just have to, man, like get in where you fit in these days.
Yeah,
You
man.
know?
But guys,
We've
it's
been
been a long.
bamboozled, y'all. We've been bamboozled because for a long
Yo,
time
man, we've
I've
been
been in the dark.
bamboozled, man. Listen, I think I got a roll for the night, man. Listen, I'm gonna tell you something. That's not the first time I think I've been tailed on the internet
It was a
because
knock.
she seemed a little bit too good to be true. So you
She was
just so happen
very
to be one of
intelligent.
the you want to be one of the few rare black Native Americans. You just so happen to be up at this time of night, almost like it's your job to be here because on where she was saying that she was at, it's speaking 3 a.m. It's like it's your job to freaking be here. Okay, so
Well,
it's just
I,
weird.
I ain't gonna I ain't gonna point no fingers, bro, because I don't know nothing for a fact, and I don't be on here like this. I enjoy your smoking some good weed, but I enjoy
I feel you, bro.
I
Right.
enjoy what you was talking about because
Fact.
I'm interested. I'm interested in one because now I see them focusing on us.
Yeah.
Somebody woke up the sleeping giant, and
Hey, you
now
black? My bad.
everybody getting a little taste of the little smell of it. Now
Mm.
everybody got their opinion about it. But guess what, man? At the end of the day, something has to go better than what it did in the past. And we're
And
gonna
by the
either
way,
see it or our kids gonna see it or our grandkids gonna see it.
guys, the whole idea of it being, I was playing along with the whole race-based thing. It's not illegal. I was just playing along with it. That's how I knew something was definitely wrong. And you notice how I was just kept asking questions, almost like I just want to like play along. It's not illegal, guys. It's an old white
All right.
supremacist trope.
For
It's
them to
never been
give
true.
us money.
Based on race, yes, that is absolutely not illegal. That is because
Why would they
if
say
that
it's
were illegal,
legal? No, why would they say it's illegal to give us money? Why would they say
yeah.
it's illegal?
Right. So basically what I was doing was I was just conceding the point, like falsely conceding the point to just just basically get to where she was going to like get to. So basically like if I sat here and I argued with that woman about that one point, we would have been there forever and we would have never gotten back to reparations, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that's the whole point of those people. They are time wasters. They are known to dissipate energy. So when the government sends out their particular informants or their particular agents, what they'll do is they sometimes their whole goal isn't to like fool you or to like make you feel bad. It's to dissipate energy. All right. And knows
Right.
how she dominated the whole conversation.
Not really, but on the real, bro, she was speaking some real shit.
No, she wouldn't.
All right. So
That's
this
not
is
a
what I got
thing
going
she
on.
said that was factually true.
We do
If you think
want we
so,
do want land. I mean, I
So
would
you
I
guys
would
can say
love some land, bro. I would
nothing.
take
Okay,
money,
okay. Her stating that
land.
she wants land is not a factual statement that she made. Name me a factual statement
Well, I can't remember that
that
because
she
I'm on that good, but I'm just saying,
because there was none. You can't
like
name one.
I'm not her lawyer. I'm not defending her. I'm just saying, like, what she said was real to me. What
Okay.
I would love to receive in my lifetime is some land, a home, and some money, and let me
Yeah, the
dictate
money.
what I'm gonna do with my money,
Right, but
and
that's what
leave me the fuck
she was
alone.
doing.
That's
She
what
was
I
saying,
want.
we'll give you the land. Don't worry about the money." And it's like, okay, stop. First
Nah,
of
we
all,
want it all.
yeah, that's what she was saying. Were you not
I
listening?
want it all. I want it all, man. Because why would I
But
take some
we can't
peanuts?
get it all, can we?
Yeah,
We deserve it.
I
We only
can.
get one life. If we
Yeah.
get it, our kids get it, our grandkids will get it.
But let
It
me let
got
me
to
go
start
and tell
somewhere,
you
right,
now, man.
fellas? Right,
Yeah,
fellas? It got
in
to
the
start
comment
somewhere.
section, and in live streams, people, you need to understand there's a concerted effort to change your mind about what reparations are, about what they should take the form of, and who should get it. When people start talking silly stuff like, well, you could get your own state and you can get this, and you could be outside the union. How long do you think that would have taken? Forever.
I wouldn't have
Yeah,
been alive
another
to
100.
Yeah.
receive it. I wouldn't have.
Again. So she knows that, right? You have to know that. There's not a black person on planet Earth who doesn't know that. So
Nobody
why do you
want to
think
wait.
she was actually here?
A
Think about it
decoy
for a second. Yeah,
to throw us off.
yeah.
The
Because
topic,
she didn't
the
mention
topic
cash
was
one time. Notice how she kept putting down cash. She said, you guys are just so fixated on cash. You need to worry about. I'm like, wait a minute. Are you saying that we shouldn't get cash? And she flat out said it one time. We shouldn't get cash. It should only be land. It's like, really, really,
we need the money.
bro. She was saying that she hated cash. Thank you, VRM Scorpio. Yeah, she was saying it the whole time. You
Why
didn't pick up
hate
on that?
money though? When that's what we need. That's the
Because
main
because
source.
the idea is to give you land, sabotage it, give you some crappy land that you can't use, sabotage it, and
You
never
ain't
give you
got the
anything
cash to do
of
nothing with it.
Well, yeah, just
right?
give us cash, and let us go and buy land wherever we choose.
Right. But what land and property that you can build with $200,000?
It's not so much about building land in California too. First of all, in a lot of states actually,
Well, I'm
Texas,
from California, man. Like
move.
I'm a native here. I've been to Georgia where my dad from, but I'm a city boy. I'm not in the South boy. You know what I'm
Then go live
saying?
in the city.
So everything out here is a million and above, maybe two or $300,000 to get you a nice little home.
Go
But
to
other
another
than that,
city.
$200,000 is gone in a day, man.
Yeah, go to another city, brother. I listen. I feel you. That's why I don't live. I don't live in freaking Cali. I live in Washington State. Washington State is very
I'm not
expensive, but it's
running
not.
from it. I want to adapt to it. I'm not running from it. I'm just trying to be
Well,
successful right here where I am with
I would
no high
say.
school education.
Well, I would say get together 5 or 6 other brothers. You know what I'm saying? Say, hey, I want to start a business. I'll put out 100K with y'all right now. 100K. We go into business right now. Half a mil. Half a mil. You can go into business in even in California. Yeah, yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. Because
Yep.
my mother-in-law runs a business right now in
I
California.
done a
Start her.
business already.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I
Well
done
then
ran a
invest,
business
bro.
for 11 years.
Invest.
It was the part about running a business. I'm gonna tell you something. My business was a limousine business. I chose that business
Oh,
because I got tired of working hard. As a young black man, that's all they want us to do all our life. Go get a job and work and make what you want to do, right? So I chose carpenter. So I started building houses, okay? So I know how to build my own house. But it wore my body out. So I went to limousine driving where you could just sit, dress nice, smell good, and go to parties, weddings, functions, whatever, and everything is nice, right? And I did that for 11 years and I enjoyed it. But at the same
Yep.
time, it wasn't successful because I was a young black man coming from nowhere. And even being around all these celebrities and being nobody is like they looking at you, you looking at them, they like, who is this? The only ones that knew you was the people I'm driving was the only ones that knew me. You know what I'm saying? So that was a relationship I got with the celebrities that I drove for. But I'm not celebrity bound. These are regular people in life. Those
I
are their
feel you.
jobs. I was doing my
Yeah.
job. But the part that really made me so mad as a black man was when I picked up Snoop Dogg in a limousine at the W. I dropped him and his whole entourage off at a club, maybe 10 minutes away from the W, right?
Right.
The big pimp come down maybe 10 minutes later and say, hey man, I need you to go back over there to the W and pick up all the hoes. Okay, I go back over there. I pick about 35 of them females up. And them was some bad ladies right there, boy. I tell you. But anyway, following them back, taking them back where Snoop was, the police pulled me over. Now, why? For one,
Cause
why
black.
would the police pull a limo over doing business in Hollywood? For one, I'm a black man. They don't like that. They don't like that. For two, I'm
Mm,
looking good.
mm.
They don't like that. So they pull me over and they say, driver license, registration, insurance. Not who are you, where are you going, none of that, right? So I gave it to them. They talked to the people in the back. They seen it was a party back there. So they said, okay, come back to me. They said, well, where are you taking them? Oh, it's taking them up the street. Say, okay, well, we gonna follow you and finish the business up there because it's too many people just to have them to step out the vehicle right here. I didn't understand that, but I took the trip on, took them where to their destination, dropping them off. Cat Williams driving by in a black Phantom looked right at me and just shook his head with that. You can look at Cat Williams' expression right now, like that's fucked up.
Mm,
Police got a black man already. That's in a tuxedo with a
mm.
nice. This is a custom limo, brand new,
Black.
2007, brand new Cadillac truck. Bought it the same day that we bought it. Cut it in half and
Right.
stretched it.
Hey,
Man, they
let,
took
let me
that.
just
Hold on,
bring in.
hold on,
Go ahead.
bro, real quick. They took the limo from me, bro.
Oh,
That
that
was the
sucks, bro.
most degrading part about it in front of
Scary.
everybody, bro.
Yeah.
So, you know, to
So
get done like that and still make a comeback and then make a big scene about it, it's I've been eating it, man. I'm tired of eating, man. I'm ready to start standing up and fighting back.
Yeah, y'all, we got to stand together right now as a black community. We got to be productive collectively with these reparations right now, y'all. You know, I'm new to this. You know what I'm saying? My dad passed. You
Sorry
know,
to
and
hear
I
that, my
got
brother.
targeted, y'all. You know what I'm saying? He was an army vet. I'm a dependent, but you know, I'm
right.
following you. So I'm new to this. Just trying to. We got to be trying to work together on this, y'all, as a community.
I feel you, bro. Feel you.
So,
I
Feel you.
feel that.
So we
Thank you,
bought it.
bro. Thank you.
Magic blue.
Thank you, Hopes.
Good.
Good morning, my brothers. How y'all doing?
How
Good.
you doing, my brother?
I'm doing all right. Thank you.
Good.
Yourself?
Blessed by the best. I just got up this morning. I caught the conversation. I just started following my man there for a minute with the reparations and things of that nature. I
Yeah.
think it's a very powerful move right now at this time because I think the last time we heard about reparations was when Dr. Martin Luther King says he's going to Washington to get that check.
Yep.
Uh, it was mentioned then afterwards by his daughter, and then it just died down.
Yeah.
Uh, right now what's going on, it's very simple. Like I was listening to the whole conversation earlier when the young lady was on there, the quote young lady on there. um you, when they say land, I agree with you 100%. No, cash. We buy our own land because all we got to
Right.
do is look back at Black Wall Street. Okay, let's look at Black Wall Street. What happened with Black Wall Street? We was mind our business. We had everything going on, so we had it. And what did they do? Like you said again, my brother, they came right in, poof. So we have to be very mindful when we say we're going to buy our land and move away from the situation. It's deep, but it's real.
Yeah. I'm so glad you came on and you said that because I want people to hear the reason why I was saying what I was saying. My grandmother told me about Black Wall Street. She told me about Rosewood in Levy County, Florida. She told me about what happened every time black people tried to quote unquote pull themselves up by the
There you
bootstraps.
go. There you go. There you go. It never fails. I mean,
Never fails.
it's saddening. It's very saddening and disturbing because it's like what we have to do. We got to build our own army. I mean, if you talk about getting land and building like we did Black Wall Street and the rest of it, we got to have armies, man,
Where
because
do we start?
they're coming.
Can
First things
somebody
first,
tell
what we
tell us
doing right
that?
now,
Where do we start?
networking and listening to each other. What we doing right now,
I'll tell you where we
networking and
start.
listening to each other and try to make the right move when you get that money. You know,
I can
Hmm.
tell you where we
pretty much
start.
it.
We can start with our black politicians stepping up and talking to the president and telling him, don't use the term reparations to give money to Africa. That's where you can start.
Okay.
He just determined that he was going to give Africa $55 billion in reparations because their people were held in bondage. That is done primarily to deter us from uniting with Africa as a whole, because they want us to feel some kind of way about him giving reparations to Africa
And
when
not
we've been
here.
fighting for it for these years,
Right.
all these years. And our black politicians didn't stand up and say, Mr. President, don't use the term reparations. Here's the kicker: $55 billion worth of fucking solar panels. That's what they're getting. See
I'm
what I'm
not
saying? Do
mad.
you?
I'm not mad with them giving any other part of, something to someone else that happened to other people. I'm not mad at that. They need to take care of everybody that they damaged.
Right.
Period.
But here's the language that they used
Yeah.
Hey, now
was
we
Right.
Yeah.
talking.
was
Right.
Yeah.
divisive.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
There
we've
That
you
been
go.
language
detoured.
is
Yeah.
divisive because
I
we
agree.
in this country, black Americans in this country have been fighting for generations to get reparations
We
because
have,
of being
man.
enslaved. You know what I'm saying?
We
And
have.
right out of the blue, Africa never asked us for reparations. You know what I'm saying? They never asked for reparations. This
They
man is
never
giving
asked us
them
for nothing.
Right. He's giving them 55 billion in solar panels to help with their electrical infrastructure so he can get his hands on the cobalt mines to get the
Right.
cobalt for these
Right.
electric cars
Right.
that
That's
they're
a
making these
plan.
batteries for.
That's a
So
plot with a plan. A plan with a plot.
exactly. And then to twist it and say these are and it came from his mouth to say these are reparations because their people were held in captivity and sold into
Mm.
slavery. And I said, this motherfucker. I made a video about it and posted it. You
Yeah.
know, yeah, straight up. Because I wanted people to understand what he was doing was very divisive. He's trying to drive a wedge between us, trying to rebuild some type of relationship with Africa. So he wants to put that wedge in there and say, well, they got reparations. Why the motherfucker didn't give us none? Who the fuck are they? You know what I'm saying? Because some people, if they don't see it for what it is, they're going to roll with it. Why these motherfuckers got
Right.
reparations and we didn't? I see what
Right.
it is. I see what he's doing. And I
I
got
see what it
pissed.
is too.
Yeah, I got pissed at all the black politicians, especially the black caucus, for not speaking up and saying, hey, this is not reparations. You know, Africa, none of those people over there were held in captivity, not in
Right.
America. So how can you say you're giving them reparations for their people that were held in bondage? Why not find those the descendants of the slaves in America and give that money to them? Give them the reparations. Don't give it to Africa.
I
Do
agree
what
with
you
you on
do
that.
with
I agree.
Africa.
That's deep.
Call it an agreement between the U.S. and Africa. We're going to get them 55 billion in solar panels to build their electrical grid, and they're going to
Right.
let us get cobalt out of the cobalt mines. Say what it is, but
Right.
Right.
don't use that bullshit that you
That's
use.
corporation talk.
Real
Yeah,
talk. Real
yeah.
talk.
So
Yeah.
yeah, man,
That's corporation talk. That's
that had
no
me
other talk but corporation talk to the world.
that had me cracking up right there.
See, what
Right.
we got to understand living here in America, we got to understand we know who we are. They visiting us. See, they came and took and destroyed us. Now that we have woke up and we're waking up, and the knowledge that we're getting from, like you yourself just taught us, the host is teaching us, we getting more knowledge than we ever got in school. They ain't
Yeah,
even teach none of this in school. Or I'd be smart as whatever. I probably would have been on the Senate or ran in the government. They kept me in the bushes somewhere. Make
it's
sure I stayed dumb.
it's counterproductive to what they were doing. Their entire movement started over 400 years ago when I think it was like the first 12 slaves that were brought to this land was they they were taken from a boat that was headed it was I can't remember what country it was going to, but the first slaves there was 12 individual slaves, and then the big movement, the big push came after that. But that
Right.
ship that they were on was stolen. That was stolen by pirates, and pirates actually brought the first 12 slaves here. And then
Everything
after
we
that,
live on was stolen.
yeah, and then after that, the slave movement started. So there's 400 years plus 400 plus years that they have been brainwashing. They have been uh, just screwing with the heads of blacks in
Sabotage.
America and hiding everything that before the colonization of America, Native Americans in certain parts of America were black, just as black as any black man in this panel right now.
Hey man, I'm a giant. I'm mad. I'm
My
woke up
family, no
now.
one in my family was a slave. No one. My family, my entire family history began right here in America. You know, but I'm black. You know what I'm saying? They was like, well, why you fight so much for black motherfucker? I'm black. What you mean? I'm black. I got
Hmm.
treated the same way as every other black man in America. When they see me, they see black man first.
One thing I
Period.
learned about our culture, we can live anywhere on this planet and get along with anyone.
Right.
We
Right.
we
Right.
got we got beast and love in us. You could bring the beast out of us, or you could bring the love out of us. It's your choice how you talk to us.
Right.
I love the fact that I did have a black father. Now I didn't understand why my dad and my mom, messed around with each other in the 50s. That was that, back in Georgia, what they was doing back there. I ain't even got to tell it all over the world. You know what they were doing in Georgia. So my dad moved to California for a change, for his kids not to go through this. But I went through it worse because I'm both, and I live here in Los Angeles, and they don't like that out here. But they not gonna tell you. They're gonna show you, and they're gonna hold you down when you want to step up and do something. Oh nah, like I'm bad in sports. I'm good in skating and things, but when those things came to put me in position, oh no, knock him down, hold him down. Oh, he's learning this. Oh, give him this book, give him that book. I was a Michael on JJ. The black, the black, the black. They had me so fucked up to the point where I can't speak nothing about black no more for years. And now we starting to talk with each other. We starting to wake up and think about like, hey man, let's help this brother. Hey man, that brother need help. Let's do this. Man, if we wake up and help each other now, our young ones, we could say the young ones. That money, they go through this type of money right now. That 200,000 that goes so fast is scary to even accept it.
Yeah,
It'll
that's
turn us upside down. I think like a lotto. You win the lotto, man. You meet the real people. Not to change your host, bro, but on some real shit, man. This is some real live shit we living. And our government been holding us back for so fucking long. I'm 57. I'm fucking mad to get to this point in my life and see all of us talking about the same shit, but we've been bamboozled.
that was the plan. They had to indoctrinate us, man, to keep us in a certain mindset.
Ain't no place we can go and get this doctrine right now. The religion, I'm scared of it. I went through it. I've been attacked biblically, all that. I'm scared of religion. I just know it's a God, but I'm scared of really. I'm not even gonna name a religion. I'm just
All you
scared of
got to
the
do,
different,
not
them
trying to cut you
different,
off.
categories. I'm scared of that now
All you got to
because it's
do is,
Hey,
hard just trying to be a black man in America.
all you got to
someone
do.
asked a very good question. Someone asked a very good question. This is from Lions and Golem says, assuming all modes of reparations will come, which do you see as the most pressing for communities? The most pressing right now in terms of what we need in reparations. The first thing is cash. And here's why I say cash, because black people are disproportionately the homeless, disproportionately in poverty, disproportionately suffering from lack of housing. If there's a difference between homelessness and lack of housing. It's not the same thing.
I think
Um,
everybody should get black. Everybody should get paid. Everybody.
right,
Fuck. You
right.
got to be you got to be part of this. You got to fuck that. You black, yeah.
Well, the
We've
reason why
been
we do
treated the
it
same,
like
man.
that
It ain't no difference. It ain't no
is
little
it's
black, no big black. We treated the
I
same.
understand that. I understand that, but in terms of slavery reparations, it's limited to black descendants of American slaves. The reason why
Well,
you do that is
we have
because
to change that. We have to change
Sean,
that because we are the
why
Sean,
black people.
why would
Sean,
we?
Sean, we love your passion, brother, but
Sorry, guys.
we got to move strategically if we're gonna do this.
You're right.
Right.
So
You're right.
we got to
You're right.
move
I'm just
strategically.
excited. I'm excited at the same time. So forgive me, y'all.
No, it's all good.
Truly, like he said, reparations are only owed to people whose ancestors in America were slaves.
Right. And that is us.
Any other black man in America or woman that didn't have ancestors that were slaves, they don't deserve it. They don't deserve it. Now, were they treated bad also? Of course, but they weren't brought here and held in bondage for over 400 years, their ancestors.
Right.
So we can't apply it evenly across all blacks in America.
Wasn't we already here when they even became America?
Yeah.
Some of
Yeah.
us were, yeah, some of us
Yeah.
were.
And the ones that was here and something happened to them, was they taken care of?
You say you're from Georgia, right? I'm from Georgia,
No, my
and
dad was from
well,
Georgia.
yeah, that's what I mean. Your family, my ancestry is from Georgia. I grew up in Georgia,
Yeah,
and
Yatesville.
yeah, we're a part of the Creek Nation, and not all natives were marched out in the Trail of Tears. So the
Yeah.
ones who really received anything from the government are the ones who were basically put up on reservations, and then down through the years they filed for and received federal recognition to be put on the Dawes rolls. A lot of Native Americans in America don't even have their name on the registry. There's a lot of tribes that the federal government won't recognize, and there are some that they call $5, and they were basically white people who paid $5 to get their names put on the registry when they first started it. And
They was buying
Yes.
their way.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And ironically, some of those tribes are federally recognized. It's not been fair
Ironically.
treatment. Yeah, it's not been fair treatment for the natives of this land. It's not been fair treatment at all for the ancestors or for the slaves and their children and grandchildren. Uh,
Right.
it's not been fair treatment for any minority, actually, that's been in America unless they were a white minority like the black hats, curly sideburns. You know,
Hmm.
they receive reparations in the form of $10 billion a year going to Israel to help keep that
Hmm.
state going.
So go to ancestry.com and get your real history. Start
Yep.
there.
It's the easy way to do it.
I
Or if you
always
really
wanted
want
to
to
do
get
that
down
too.
into it, if you really want to get down into it, man, a lot of your folks, man, you gonna find you got a lot of folks in the South. A lot
I
of
do.
times. It's not
I
guaranteed.
know personally I do.
It's not guaranteed, but oftentimes a lot of black folks, if you could trace your lineage back to chattel
You
slavery in these lands, especially like South Carolina, you can find out a lot about your folks there, man. South Carolina Archives is a great resource, but Ancestry.com is going to be your best bet. Believe it or not, I put in my name one time. Man, there was so much about my family. It was wild, bro.
it
I'm
woke
related
you
to
up, huh?
Zion Williamson, Kevin Durant, all kind of people. Crazy. Yeah. Zion Williamson, which is not shocking because his folks come from Marion, South Carolina, and my folks still live in Marion. That's why he's built like that. That's why I'm built like that. Like I'm built. I'm very tall. I have very large hands. I
Right.
wear a size 15. It's to like 16 shoe. So we are all built like that. We all built like athletic freaks. So it's not just him. Like
It's the
anybody from like Marion
melanins.
County, like even like the women, like I got an aunt who's like 6'10".
Jeez.
Yep. Marion County, man. Those some big black folks, man. Like Marion County, Calhoun County, um, certain parts of like Irmo, man. You get those real tall and like especially like the freaking low country. You get them real tall black folks, man. Like you know, you had like Jadavion Clowney come from there. Like South Carolina produced some freaks now. They produce some freaks now.
Yeah, that's
Especially like the
crazy.
Carolinas, like Michael Jordan, his family is linked. I mean, his family, like okay, so he came from North Carolina, but his family is really linked to South Carolina. Any black person who's like an athlete from that state, man, notice they ain't just normal. They exceptional.
Right.
Yeah.
What you riding on
Yeah.
a scooter or something?
Who me?
A hoverboard?
Who me?
Yeah.
No, no, I'm walking.
Oh, it look like you riding on something.
Oh
I'm like
no,
he hitting
man. Oh
corners and
no, man.
everything.
Oh no, I'm actually walking because my animals are annoying me.
Man, it
They
look
want
like you
attention.
gliding, bro. It don't look like you walking. It look like you gliding.
You
No,
know,
no,
y'all were
no.
talking earlier about creating your own, like the Black Wall Street, and
Yeah.
it to get where you need to be now, it's gonna be a long road because you got to build an infrastructure. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? You gotta have industry. You're gonna still use the same people that have everything in place right now for trade partners. Because you gotta buy lumber, you gotta buy steel, you gotta buy goods, you gotta buy the products that you're gonna sell. And until you come up with some form of your own way of manufacturing, you're still always gonna use the existing supply chain.
right.
And I own a business, and my product isn't as cheap as you can find it somewhere else because I have to buy from the current supply chain. I don't have a $5 billion business where I can buy in quantity to get the lowest rates. So when you
Right.
and a lot, and I tell people, yeah, I don't expect anybody to go and buy everything from the black grocery store in the hood, because
Right.
you're not going to be able to afford it like you would if you go to a Walmart and feed your family. You know, you can buy a lot of food at Walmart versus you can go to Mr. Johnny's store in the neighborhood, spend, buy a couple of days worth of groceries from him, and eventually he'll make enough money where he can expand. And then he can get another store and get another store. And then eventually he can get stuff in higher quantities and bring the cost of goods down where he can almost compete with the neighborhood Walmart grocery stores. You know what I'm saying? But the way it's set up right now, it would be absolutely hard to create another nation within a nation and think you're going to compete openly in the marketplace, because we don't have any factories, we don't have any manufacturing already established. We do have spending power, but you'd have to really be organized to pull that into a negotiation with these other corporations that you're going to be buying from. You know, to start over from scratch now is going to take time. You're going to go through some growing pains. You're going to spend a little extra to buy from a black business. That's just, but how many people are willing, you know what I'm saying? How many people are willing to sacrifice spending $5, $10 more than they would somewhere else to do business
That's
with
gonna
a
be the
black
only way.
person? See, that's the thing.
Right.
You've got to be committed not only in your desire to have your own thing, but are you willing to spend your money to show it, to prove it? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Because that's where it
Right.
all begins. That's what I mean. I do woodworking. You're not gonna buy groceries from me. You're not gonna get gas from me. I sell a custom product, and that's not for everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I don't expect everybody in my community to buy from me. I expect everybody in America that wants a custom product to buy from me. But
Right.
if you really want a nation build, where you start at is with your black owned businesses or minority owned businesses, and really invest money into the growth and development of those businesses so that money can stay in the community and turn around and continue to grow. You know,
Right.
you know, it's a lot of talk, it's a lot of rhetoric going around, but if you're not willing to sacrifice and go through the growing pains, and it's not going to happen in 20 years, 30 years, it may not even happen in our lifetime. It's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of money and a lot of effort to create what they want, or what a lot of people say they want.
Right. And I think that what you're saying is so true. I mean, and even the way we look at a Black Wall Street, it's not even going to be the same as it was like the first one. Like a modern day Black Wall Street will have to have a social media apparatus, like their own version of like a Silicon Valley. You would have to have that because at some point, if you want to push across any kind of message, be it politically or socially, you have to have a way to do that can't be censored. You're gonna have to have your own daycares, your own food places, your own restaurants. You're gonna have to have your own farms. You have to have your own way of producing these products and services that other groups can produce, that we give other groups lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of money for. This is why I think reparations are going to be so important, because we do got a lot of black entrepreneurs, a lot of black inventors, a lot of black geniuses who simply don't have the funding.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I
So
agree
I,
with you
I
with that
really
all the
really
way.
think, and I want to ask you, what kind of woodwork do you do, like carpentry or like what?
Oh, no, 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 no. I do custom wood carvings.
Okay, okay, okay. So I kind of figured that one. I kind of figured that one. Kind of figured that one because you sound like someone who like to do a lot of work with their hands, and more like more online
Yeah,
along the side of the artistic side.
now, brother, I got a machine in the back. I got a big old ass machine out there. I put a block of wood on it, program the software, tell it to do it, and it do it.
Oh wow, cool,
Yeah,
cool,
uh-uh.
cool.
I ain't got that kind of patience, man, to be carving anything by hand. As I got older, look, man, I've been working in construction for years and been welding for years and in project management. And as I got older, I wanted to do something, something cool, but something that was less laborious for me to do. I didn't want to work as hard,
Right,
so I invested
right.
in some equipment to do all the work. So
Awesome.
I'm just
Awesome.
as old as the other brother that was in here. I mean, he's 57, I'm 56. Somebody in the comments was saying that I'm an agent. because
Young
That's a
Danny so
beautiful
far.
thing, brother.
because I mentioned minorities, right? Look, he said
Right.
minorities giving agent vibes. Brother, what they fail to realize is when I say I'm Native American, before these borders came, the brown people down in Mexico lived in this land too. They're Native Americans too. And they're minorities in this country. And they're melanated men too. You know what I'm saying? I know not all of them gonna rock with us, but there are some that will. So when I say
Yeah.
support, I get a lot of business from Hispanic people out here in Texas, man, because they recognize me as a black owned business and they do business with me. So
Yeah.
so I mean,
Same here. Yeah.
I'm black
I
first
don't turn
all day
away no
long.
business.
Yeah, I'm black first all day long, but I am not gonna shut down another community of people because somebody like that guy in the in the comments
Yeah.
saying he sounds like an Asian. Man, fuck that. You know what I'm saying? I'm a
Yeah.
single dad. I'm a single dad, dude. My wife been dead 13 years and I had to raise 4 kids by myself. So some knucklehead in the comments ain't gonna get me to change my way of speaking. I'm in business.
Well,
I'm in business. You know what I'm saying? I support
I
black
feel you.
owned businesses. I do the best I can to help brothers gain the knowledge they need to start a business, to run a business, to keep a business going. But I still got to do business with other people who want to hire me to do business with them. I'm not going to
Yeah.
cut my own throat. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to cut my own throat and depend on people who I know are not interested in what I do to support me. You know what I'm saying? That's an idiot
Right.
move right there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm selling a product
So
I'm selling a product that not everybody in my community is gonna want. You know what I'm saying? So I still got to do business with other people. Yeah, I love me. I love my black. I love my black people. I'm black first, but I still have to deal with other people in America, and I'm not gonna turn my back on anybody else in America just because they ain't black. That's crazy.
yeah.
Well, good
So
morning, good morning, my brothers.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Good morning, my brothers. How y'all doing today?
Good morning, sister. How
Doing
you doing?
good, doing
Hey,
good.
sister.
Good
First of all,
morning.
ACAB Devil, I have been following you for a while now. I watched the
Thank you.
platform grow. I have every time I see something about a cop, I think about you every single time,
Thank you.
every time, and I want to send you stuff, but I don't have a gateway. But anyway,
Right.
I do genealogy research, and I've been doing it for like the last 10 years, and I will say this.
I remember you. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I will say this. Now, I understand because I can trace my roots back to slavery. But I will say this. I do believe that all African Americans who were subjugated to uh Jim Crow and segregation should also receive some sort of reparations. The reason I say that is because after slavery, our people endured psychological abuse that was unfathomable, and
Hmm.
it affected generations after generation after generation.
Hmm.
And it created the great migration into the east from the south, where people had to divest from their families and leave their families behind, and never talk some never talked to their families again. Families lost
Right.
all contact from their families. So those type of things, I do believe that there should be, though slavery definitely needs a reparations. I do feel that other African Americans who claim not to have been subjugated to slavery should still receive some sort of reparations, for the simple fact that they were treated badly. They were subjugated to uh courts. They were subjugated to the same rules, laws. you know they had to go through the same thing that we did. um I showed my mother. Also, I wanted to tell you, my mother and father both live in California. I'm from California, and
I know you're excited, huh?
they were very, very. My mother didn't believe it at first, and then I showed her your
Right.
video, and she was like, "Oh, okay, let me know." So,
So, just give you an update about that. So, they're talking about June of 2023. They're talking about when Gavin Newsom could potentially sign it. Okay, so we ain't talking about just getting to prove it. He's talking about signing it. He says whenever it comes across my desk, I'm gonna sign it. So June 2023, that's when you should start really, really looking. Now, the other thing I'm gonna tell you is the reason why. Okay, so there's two things that you discussed, and I kind of like the way that you discussed it. You said one, there should be reparations for black descendants of American slaves, but then something else later for everybody else. See, I have no problem with that. The reason why I don't have a problem with that, making it two separate claims. If you're gonna pay people out, make it two separate claims. The reason why I have no problem with that is because the second that you include everybody in the first initial thing, like what they're doing in California now and in different states now, and with the federal government, if you include everybody, then you know what's gonna happen. It's going to get undermined.
Yeah.
It's going to get taken to court. You're going to have people trying to include themselves who are Hispanic, people who are Native American, people who are Asian. Well, they get it. Wait. So you gave it to all black people. So how come all Japanese people didn't also get reparations? Then you got to pay to all Japanese people in this country, and then all the Italians are going to come. Well, not all Italians got paid. Then you got to pay all them too. You see the floodgates that you've just opened.
And I totally agree with that. 3,000%.
Uh,
I do see that happening. And also, I wanted to address something in the comments. If that person is
Go ahead.
still here, I'm so tired of people saying, "What about the Irish?" I'm going to say this
Oh
once
God.
and for all. Irish came here. The first Irish that came here as from the prisons. The Irish government sent them over from the prisons. They sent them over to be indentured servants. In indentured servitude, they had a time slot where they were freed from their indentured servitude. So it was not chattel slavery. Their children were not sold off. It was totally different. So do not do that. I am so sick and tired of hearing people making that comment. It was totally and completely different. They may have been treated badly, but trust and believe they were not. And then once they became free, they too owned slaves. So
Yes.
let's get that done once and for all. No. And if you have a problem with the Irish, you need to go talk to the Irish government because they came
Yeah.
from the prisons.
People who mention the Irish so much, I always respond to them the exact same way. If you care so much about the Irish, then go fight for the IRA.
Hmm.
If you care so much about about the Irish, but you won't go and do that, and then the other side of them bringing up the whole Irish thing is that it's almost insulting because when they say the Irish are slaves, they don't actually mention the specific lineage. They'll say things like the Irish were slaves, which was first of all they were in service, but then they don't mention that the Irish were slave masters and that they
Exactly.
abused their female slaves, and that's how you ended up being a descendant of a freaking slave. See, there's
Exactly.
there's some Irish people out there who says, well, I checked my lineage and I got slaves in my family because the slave masters didn't understand consent. I don't
Exactly.
want to say the other word, but again, people will bring up this insulting stuff and it's a slap in the face and they actually know the truth, like stuff like, well, black people own slaves in this country too. Yes, because we were buying our family,
Yes. Yes.
our wives, our children, our aunts, our uncles, and you bringing that up knowing that fact is so disrespectful.
Right. Exactly.
God, it's
And
so like I've go
we
ahead,
had
go
to
ahead.
actually hold papers on our relatives so they
Yeah.
would not be recaptured and put back into bondage. So
Imagine going to a
we
restaurant, a modern day restaurant, and you sit down at a freaking table, right? And you're eating dinner with your wife, and you have to hold papers for your wife because at any point, some men with guns could show up and snatch your wife and take her away. At
exactly
any point.
your wife,
At any point.
your children. Yes, they don't. I mean, I'm tired of that. And if they say, if I see one more person say, well, you need to go back to Africa and get reparations from Africa, chattel slavery happened in the United States. It did not happen in Africa. And then once Africans found out that what was going on over here, They tried to stop it, thus the colonization of Africa. So we're not going back to Africa because chattel slavery happened over here. US government
Right.
allowed it to happen over here. Just like they allowed, after slavery, they allowed sharecropping and Jim Crow and the KKK and
Right.
lynchings and the demolition of all of our black communities. And the government did eminent domain on a lot of our black communities as well. A lot of
Yeah.
people don't know that the government would
Yeah.
just come through. Like I have people from Maryland. The government came through, and it was a very, very productive town, very flourishing town, and they claimed
Wow.
all the land from those families, paid them nothing for that land, nothing, pennies on the
Yep.
dollar, nothing, and those people had to
Yep.
relocate with nothing, and they took that
Yep.
land and just and dissected it and gave it away to a college.
Yep. In fact, what they would do a lot of times in the West and Midwest, when they take a lot of black people land, they would just give it to the white settlers. They would just do that when you had black people who would actually become free. Any land that they would basically get. Cause see, here's the thing, right? People don't understand how things work back then. There was no mass media, there was no mass surveillance, there was no
Right.
internet. If a group of white people just came and took your land as a black person, what the hell was you were you gonna go back and do about it?
Exactly.
Nothing. So most of the land that you're seeing in certain particular states, especially in like Georgia, you go like down like actually down south, a lot of that land used to be owned by black people.
Oh, of course, of course.
I would say actually a vast majority of it actually, especially in like Georgia. Georgia. A lot of black people settled when the Civil War ended. A lot of us went up to places like New York and that kind of place. But a lot of us stayed down south, and so a lot of us tried to actually settle. You had black towns and black businesses started up all over the place, and they would always get burned down every single time. It was you're talking about places like in Oklahoma to Florida to North Carolina. There was actually a small town in Winston-Salem, North Carolina got burned down. I can't remember the name of that town for the life of me. But it's like it's actually crazy. It's actually an actual stat out there. It says there's been more than the equivalent of $40 billion worth of businesses that's been black owned that was burned before 1950.
Hmm.
Hey, my
But
brother and
The
sister.
modern day equivalent. Go
and
ahead.
you say and you say it happened in it did happen in the East Coast as well because like in New
Yeah,
York there was Seneca Village. They took over
yeah.
Central Park used to be a black community, part of Central Park, and then they had part of Wall Street. They have a plaque on Wall Street. Part of Wall Street used to be a black community. So I mean, it was all across America that they did this. You know,
Yeah.
Well,
so
right here in
Good.
right here in Georgia, you have Lake Lanier. Look it up, Lake Lanier
exactly
Yeah.
and Lake
underwater.
Lanier. Georgia Tech, that land
Yeah,
is that's on.
they
Look it
flooded
up.
that place.
It's a whole lot. It's like it's so deep. I mean, but it is what it is. But God see all things. I believe in God, and I know eventually we're gonna be back on top again. I know this. It's gonna be time.
Bruce's Beach.
Yep.
That's in California, I think. That's Bruce's Beach. Yeah, I think they
Oh,
just gave that back.
wait, I think you know what? Honestly, I think Newsom did that as a big fu to those people though, because that area was
Yeah.
basically Republican, and they wanted him gone. That was a very wealthy white area, and they wanted him out of there, and they were trying to lobby to get him out of there. And I think once he reclaimed that seat or he kept that seat, he was like, "I'm going to show you," and that's what he did. He was like, "What can I do to get back at them?" And that's what he did. I mean, everything. I don't. Newsom is, he is what he is. I don't trust any politician on either side of the
I feel you.
board. You know what I mean? But I
I
think
feel you.
I don't really think he did that out of the kindness of his heart. I think I think that was just a big fu to them and to that community to say, hey, I can show you what I can do to you, and it just
I'm
benefited
glad
us
he did it.
in the interim. And I
Yeah.
and I'm glad he did that for that family But just think that's one family. Just
Right.
one. If they would go across the whole United States, not only that, give reparations. Like, let's start with the descendants of people, all the veterans who fought
Mm.
in World War I and World War II, the millions of black men and women that did not get the GI Bill. Give that
Yeah.
reparations back with
Yeah.
interest.
Well, right now, the Yale University, I don't know if you guys seen that video I
I
put out.
saw
Yale
that.
University right now, they're suing the Department of Veterans Affairs on behalf of black veterans.
Mm.
Apparently, they got 20 years of data from 2001 until 2020 showing that black veterans have consistently been denied claims. Been the percentage of denial is higher with black veterans, but also the percentage of approval for white veterans is actually higher. And we get rejected for like our housing benefits, our healthcare benefits, all that stuff. And they actually brought in numbers, like actual numbers, actual data. So like you're right, yeah. There's so many sectors in which you would have to correct things, and people think that reparations alone is what's going to fix things. I'm pushing it only because it's something that is so close within our reach. That is not the only thing that I want out of this country. No, I want reparations first off, cash. Give us our own reservations. I want us to have our own tribe, just like Native Americans, our own tribal police, our own hospitals, our own everything. That way, the government, the federal government can just fund us, but have no say.
It makes
You
sense.
know? Yeah. I want the same things that the freaking natives have. I want freaking casinos too.
Yeah, I go.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want my own freaking dispensary. Yeah, I want all that stuff. I want all the money. I want the bars. I want the car dealerships. I want the freaking boat dealerships. I want all the freaking construction companies. I want the freaking cement company. I want all the cement companies. The semiconductor companies. I want all the tech companies. I want the social media. I want it all. All
Right.
the goodies and benefits you gave the Asian community, all the executive orders, all the little I mean the little goodies, all the stuff that you gave to other people to spite us, I want it all.
And guess what? On top of that, it was all copyrights from our ancestors that they took, and they used the
Yeah.
word copyright. So every invention that we did or whatever, they just took it right from underneath our belt.
Yeah. But I want my money though. I want
I want
every
mine too.
black person. I want every black person that any white country has ever harmed to get paid. See, the thing about what's happened with reparations now, people are trying to weaponize people from the Caribbean against us, and that's not even working now because people in the Caribbean they're going after the freaking UK now.
Exactly. Yes.
So
Smart
we
move.
are on code even when we're trying not to be.
Right.
Yeah.
But did you notice how? But did you notice how our government has said that? Okay, so um, President Biden, I'm an independent, so I'm not pro Democrat, I'm not pro Republican, because this is
I
not
feel
the
you.
talk, because this is not political talk. But
I feel you.
he did say that he was giving quote unquote reparations to Africa, and I think he that was, and I was very displeased with a lot of the African American leaders because they needed to step up and say, "Hey, this is not reparations that you're doing. You're
Right.
giving you're giving this money for cobalt, and you're getting
Right.
something in return. It's an exchange. It's not
Right.
reparations." And and I think that they did that as a division, as a divisive tactic,
Right.
because then we could be like, oh, Africans this and Africans that, and then Africans come over here and they go, oh, well, they shouldn't, there is no systemic racism, and everybody has a fair shot, and it's like, hey, wait a minute, you guys are just like first, second generation, you didn't go through what our ancestors went through, so I think it's just a divisive tactic on their part to label it as such. I don't think
Yeah.
that it's right. I think that our African leaders, African American leaders, need to step up and start being more vocal. And I'm really tired of the African American church. And I'm sorry if anybody's really Christian in here, but the African American church collects $10 billion a year from African Americans. There is no reason why our communities should be in such a shambles that they're in, and
I
they get
agree
so
with you.
much money.
I agree
Hey,
with
did
you.
y'all hear what that woman just said? Is that
I
not
agree.
confirmation? That's what they call confirmation, ain't? Because
Yeah,
that's not exactly what I said when I came in here.
yeah,
Well, just think about this. Everything in the world is taxed except what?
Churches
There you go.
yeah,
Right there. There you go. But see,
and,
yeah.
like I
and
said, in all the religion, if you look at it, who was all the religion built by? Who named all the religions? Look it up. It'll show you who named all the religions.
Oh,
Baptist,
you can say the
Pentecostal, all that.
Catholic Church. They won't ban you for saying the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
They'll ban you if you say another group that we all know is true about.
I
I ain't gonna say that though.
say them. I
The
say it
one
all
that
the time.
Kyrie
All
Irving
you have to,
offended, apparently.
as long as you don't say it in a derogatory fashion, you can say what you want to say.
I'm just saying, I'm not even gonna cross that bridge
I
because
did it.
all I
I
know
did it.
is if sharing a tweet can make you lose millions of dollars. I have $0 million, brother. Listen, how you gonna say we don't have all the power you claiming, and then go on to prove that you well you actually do have all the power you claiming? What are you talking about? You cancel Kanye West. What are you talking about?
You
Okay.
know what?
Yeah.
Have y'all
Yep.
seen the videos? Have y'all seen the videos of the rabbis speaking and saying the same thing that we're saying? When the rabbis came out and told the truth about the community that they live in, there's
Yeah.
a
I
bunch of these
didn't see
rabbis
it.
that come out and openly spoke against it, saying that they know these people. They actually got they have blacks that have returned to Israel to live in Israel because they recognize their heritage and their lineage as being Jewish or being Jew, and they actually have
well,
land where they're
uh,
living on in
not
Israel.
not necessarily because I fly over to Israel quite a bit. I don't see that as much as
I didn't say it was a lot. I said they have some. They have a black school. They actually had to build a school for the black students because they didn't want the black students to go to the school with the Jewish kids.
yeah. That no, I do believe that's probably true. I do believe that's probably true.
Is racism that bad in Israel?
Well, it's you could it's when you go over there. Well, I've been to Tel Aviv quite a bit, but you can see the segregation. Like the
Hmm.
you can see that the Jewish. I don't you don't see too much cross cultural mixing. I would
Hmm.
say I don't see
Hmm.
that, but you don't see
Hmm.
any of. I've only known of like I have one coworker that is from she was born and grew up Jewish from Israel and
Hmm.
she's a Hebrew speaker. Um, but she, that's the only person I know for a fact. But I know that what he said is probably true,
Wow.
definitively.
Yeah, I was
Wow.
watching a documentary on it. You know, I watched that movie uh, that he tweeted about, and then I saw a few other documentaries, and it was a Jewish guy that went over to Israel to meet with his brother that helped form that school over there. They had their own community. It's not a whole lot of them. It was probably no more than 1,000 to 2,000, if that many. And
Yeah.
they had to teach their children in their communities, right outside where they lived because they couldn't go to the school with the Jewish children over there. So they had to build their own school. And
Mm.
they built the school. They've been there for what 20, 30 years. Somebody said they're converts. Um, if you if you can get to the actual government website, they actually speak about certain tribes in Africa that they've identified as being descendants through blood from the tribe of Judah they actually still live by the traditional Hebrew. They read and write Hebrew. They do the same traditions and customs that they've always done as Hebrew, and it's on their website. And this was based on the documentary that I saw. I
Mm.
don't know the full detail because I didn't go to it to see it, but I saw the documentary and I was like, wow, that's I guess that's pretty cool.
Well, I don't really, um, and I hate to jump off topic about Kanye, but I really don't support Kanye. Well,
Right.
I don't support his antics because I really don't think he is really for the people. Because if you
Right.
look at if you listen to what he says, but you don't listen to what somebody says, watch their actions. You don't listen to anything he has to say. Watch his actions. Watch what he does. What he does doesn't align with what he says.
Yeah.
You know,
I tried to help Kanye. I tried to defend Kanye. I tried. Listen, it gets to the point where you gotta want to help yourself, bro.
because
There you go.
who does he align
That's the
himself with?
bottom line.
Who does
Yeah.
he associate with?
Bottom
Who does he
line.
want to surround himself with? That's he doesn't want to surround
Yeah.
himself with us. He doesn't align with us. He talks about how we're getting dogged, but he aligns with the people who he claims are dogging us. So make
Right.
that make sense.
Yeah, that's crazy. I can't mess with that. Honestly, man, when it comes to dudes like that, I'm gonna always jump out to try to defend a black celebrity. I will always do that because that's
Right.
my first. That's my first instinct. But that has really caused me to look at some things like should I really cape throwing the cape so hard for somebody when they clearly don't even want to help themselves?
Wait, and
And
notice
it's like,
and no, wait, and
yeah,
notice since the election cycle is over, and I told you this before. I was on your live before and I said this. I say he only acts up and acts out during an election cycle. Now the election
yeah,
cycle's over. Have we heard anything from him? Nope. He's pretty
not
much
really.
quiet, right? For the
Yeah,
last 2 weeks since the election, Herschel Walker's the runoff, he's been quiet. We haven't
yeah,
heard anything from him. Isn't that
Y'all know what?
coincidental?
Y'all gonna leave Herschel
yeah,
Walker alone. Y'all
It's
gonna leave Herschel
yeah.
Walker
because
alone.
he does this for
Herschel Walker is a national
intentionally,
hero.
huh?
He's a bulldog. Herschel Walker is a Georgia bulldog. Y'all gonna leave that Georgia bulldog alone.
Okay, well, if you
Yeah,
follow behind that
listen,
Georgia Bulldog,
listen,
I
I'm
ain't say I
listen.
was
sorry,
gonna
but
follow
that's
him.
the
I
most
just said leave
ignorant.
him alone. We knew he wasn't. We knew he shouldn't have did it. No matter how well he meant, we knew.
No, there was
No,
We knew.
no matter how
y'all didn't have to
well he meant.
dog Herschel that bad.
No,
Man,
no, 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 no.
They was
As a
dogging that
Georgian,
brother.
well, wait, as a Georgian, who he could have affected my lifestyle and and the way I live. No, 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 no. We are not going to allow that atrocity
But you
in
didn't
this
have to
state.
vote for him. You didn't have to vote for him. You didn't have
We
to
are
vote
not
for
gonna
him.
no
Just
no no,
don't
and we
dog
will
him
not
out.
validate that craziness, that circus.
It's
Y'all didn't do
disrespectful.
Hank
Nah,
Johnson
but
like
but
that.
but
Y'all
I
didn't do
will
Hank
say
Johnson
the
like
way that
that.
they were going at Herschel Walker, it was some racial undertones like with some of that stuff. I will say that, but I will also say that if you know that you are the Joker, you know you got the Joker, all that stuff in your background, and you still happen to run, sir. If somebody go at you, that's on you. You
You
Yeah.
said
knew
if
all
you
that stuff was
said
in your
if you
background.
know.
You knew all
But
that stuff was there.
you said it right.
You knew all
You
that was
said
there.
if you know. He didn't know.
What
He
did
didn't
he
know.
know?
If
He
he
What
knew
knew,
did
he
about
wouldn't have
baby
wait
ran.
mamas. He
wait?
knew about them.
Come on,
He
you
knew
know
Y'all
about
he didn't
them.
forget.
know about 4 kids. Come on,
Look,
sir,
no,
don't
no.
do that.
What I'm saying is, y'all have forgotten Herschel Walker and who he is. That man told
Yeah,
y'all 20 years ago that he grew up with a mental health issue.
Oh yeah.
He
yeah,
told y'all
Yeah.
when he started
yeah.
exercising and getting in shape, he used to be an overweight kid and he obsessed on getting in shape and he would do push-ups, thousands of freaking push-ups a day.
He
Y'all
probably
knew
lied
something was
about
wrong with that
that.
man then. Huh?
He probably lied about that as he lied about everything else, like him being
Well,
a police
no, you
officer.
heard him talk. You hear him talk. You hear how he talks. You know he got some kind of imbalance.
But look how
I
far he
mean,
made it.
there's a
Look how
difference
far he
between mental
made it.
health and just
Look how far.
capping, man. And that man was capping the whole way through. He said he ain't never paid for nothing like that, bruh. That man was capping. No, that's not a mental illness, bruh. There was receipts. They brought receipts, bro. How
She
you got
came
a
to the
receipt
table
from a
with
Porsche?
receipts,
What?
And,
a
and that
car,
speaks
and a receipt for
and that
the
speaks to his
procedure.
mental health. If he look now, you
Wait,
got to know something wrong with somebody to say that, and you know damn well they got information out there to bring it up. They can
No, but
prove
I
that
want
you
to know how
lying,
you got
so
a receipt,
there had to be something wrong.
bruh. Who kept a receipt though? Who kept the receipt? That's what I gotta
Oh,
know.
look,
Who is that petty?
he was a star football player at Georgia. He was a star professional football player. That receipt is gonna be worth some money one day. I aborted Herschel's baby. Look at this. See?
but if
Damn.
you know for a fact that you have all this stuff in your background and you lie and you create this false narrative. You're like you're not gonna get caught. I mean, it's just common
He
sense
ain't,
that it
He
was gonna
he,
had
come
he ain't,
out.
mental
he
health
ain't the first.
problems.
They all do it. He ain't the first one to do it. They all
He's
do it.
got mental health problems. I'm from Columbus, Georgia. I was
Okay.
a huge fan of
Oh, I
Herschel
understand
Walker's
why you're
growing
saying
up.
all this now.
We all
Oh
loved
my
Herschel
God,
Walker.
oh my God, I
We all
understand.
loved Herschel Walker. As soon as them people used that man, y'all know he was being used. Y'all just didn't have to abuse him
Right.
like that.
Right. I mean, here's the thing. Right? Okay, so I hear what you're saying. You're saying that Herschel Walker was used like a crash dummy, and that we
Exactly.
should not have jumped on him because we understand what he's being used for. That he's a stand-in, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, that I can somewhat get because
No,
you're right. I
no,
can
no, no, no,
somewhat
no,
get.
no, 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 no,
I'm not saying that
no.
we shouldn't criticize Herschel Walker. We should absolutely criticize Herschel Walker. Good God, he made it easy. He made it easy.
Lord,
That's
no.
and that's
But
exactly why you shouldn't do it. If you know somebody got a mental health problem, you're supposed to have empathy
Sir,
towards them.
it'd be
You
different if he did not try to disparage black men. He tried to tear you
yeah,
guys down. He tried to rip us apart as people. You don't get up in front of white folks and you tear us down. Come on now. You
Barack
I
Obama did
mean,
it.
you tap dancing for these
Barack
clowns.
Obama did it. Barack Obama did it. That's why Jesse Jackson said
No,
somebody should have
Barack
cut his
Obama
balls
did
off.
not tap dance for nobody. Don't do that,
Jesse
sir.
Jackson
it,
said he did.
oh,
Jesse
now I
Jackson was
will
caught
say
hot.
Barack Obama. Now he did do some tap dancing. Oh God,
Y'all.
Barack Obama was bad.
Jesse
He was
Jackson said
bad. But
somebody
but
ought
I
to cut
will
his
say this:
balls off.
we can't defend Herschel Walker. We can't do that. Even though he has a mental health issue, that's fine. But it gets to the point where it's okay if someone has a mental health issue, but they walked up to you and they slapped you, you ain't gonna care, right? So in that moment, if you're gonna judge a man because they offended you, then you got to respect the fact that he offended her. And him
True.
having a mental illness doesn't negate the fact that he was absolutely offensive and that he was
You know
capping the
what?
whole way
It
through.
wasn't,
And
we
that
didn't
and that
talk
and
about
that having a mental illness doesn't mean that you don't have the intellectual ability to be judged for your actions. Because a good bit
facts,
of people who are locked up, mental illness.
You know
facts.
what?
So if it's so if
I ain't
it's
gonna lie to
so if
y'all.
it's
I
if
ain't
it's
gonna
if
lie to
it's
y'all.
fair for them, it's fair for him.
I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I did laugh at a lot of that shit though.
Yeah. Herschel Walker, he unfortunately Herschel Walker is a sad case of what happens when a black person wants relevance and they're willing to do anything to get it, and the person that they're going to get it from realizes they're not ready for that position. Prime example, Herschel Walker is not the first time this has happened. You look at somebody, another prime example,
Ben Carson.
Yeah.
Alan
Uh-huh.
West. Alan West. You look at for example, Ben Carson.
Ben
He's another
Carson.
one. Ben Carson. You have
Tim
there's another
Scott.
black guy who oh God Jesus Tim
Tim
Scott.
Scott.
Tim Scott. Tim Scott is to politics what I think the Trojan horse was to the Trojans. As far as what as far as what he is to us, because I'm from South Carolina. I actually met Tim Scott, and when I say this man wants approval from white people so badly,
Yeah, the
it, it's
validation.
it's 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 very apparent.
You know
He
what?
is not sure of himself on anything unless a white person approves of it first.
I'll tell you like this. Whatever your political leanings are, if you're a conservative person with conservative values, not a Republican, Republicans are totally different from conservatives now
Right,
because you have some Democrats that actually have conservative values when it comes to Christianity and their belief system. Those are what you
right.
consider conservative values.
But
People who think conservatively with money, don't just blow it frivolously. Those are conservative values.
that's
And
that's
right. And
keep
and I
going,
look
keep
at
going.
now someone like Ben Carson. Ben Carson is a very brilliant person. Very
Right.
brilliant.
He's
Very
book
soft
smart.
spoken. Very soft spoken guy. Very soft spoken. and his life revolved around his belief system, and his core values lean more towards right-leaning conservatism than what he was seeing, what according to his spiritual belief, what he was seeing in today's churches, where they're allowing any and everything to take place in a lot of these churches.
But
So
let me ask you this, sir.
yes, ma'am.
What I do in my how does what I do in my household affect you? It doesn't. Just like what you do in your household does not affect me. This country would be much better off if everybody minded their own damn business. Why are
Okay,
you so concerned about how and you know what? That's another thing. Christianity is not the only way and the only religion. We were spoon fed Christianity as
I
African
agree.
Americans when we first got to this country to make us subservient and obedient.
I agree.
This it is not the only religion. It's not the end all be all.
And I agree. I was just giving you Ben Carson.
But you were
This, this,
saying
Right.
you're saying conservatism and conservative values.
right,
Conservative
right.
values, conservative. That's what I'm saying. Everybody falls back on conservative values being living the Christian way. Who says the Christian way is the right or the only way? Just like it kills me when people talk about like, oh, when you go to heaven and the only way you can go to heaven is meet Jesus and to claim Jesus. I'm sure my God that I meet when I go is not going to care what religion I am. He's going to care about if my heart was right and if I lived right.
Right.
And I'm not going to dispute that if that's what you believe. I was just giving an example of why Ben Carson is the way he is. I used to follow Ben Carson because he was a brilliant neuroscience, a neurosurgeon, very smart, very intelligent black man. So I followed him. I like brothers like that who are very intelligent. And he didn't use the same rhetoric that someone like Herschel uses, or someone like Tim Scott uses, or someone like
Right.
Allen West uses. He was he fit into a different category. That's why
Yeah.
Republicans that they liked him, but they didn't like him enough to keep him on the stage. See what I'm saying? They liked him, but they didn't like him enough to put him in a powerful position within the government. They put him in HUD. See what I'm saying? So
Right.
they knew America was watching. They knew that America knew this man was qualified to work within the government to help somewhere, but the other Republicans didn't believe in him enough to put him somewhere else. I don't mind a black Republican as long as they don't forget you're black. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can believe what you want to believe, but at the end of the day, you're gonna be black first. You're gonna always be black. If you're a black man, you're gonna always be black. So I don't care what your political leanings are. When the shit hit the fan, you are black, and you need to remember that. A lot of people are Republicans because they own businesses and they like the Republican look at and how the Republicans handle stuff as far as business, tax breaks, and all that other shit like that. That's why you get some black people going to the Republican Party. You trust me, all them black people that are voting Republican that are doing it for business, they don't buy into all the other bullshit that the Republicans are pushing out. I've got some black friends that are Republicans, and they say I ain't riding with that bullshit right there, because at the end of the day, they gonna ride black. You know what I'm saying? And it's only an issue for us. You know what I'm saying? White people can be whatever they want to be in America. But whenever black people choose to do something outside of what other black people consider normal, like rolling with the Democratic plantation, I never
Don't
vote
say
straight.
that, sir. Don't say
I
that.
never vote straight party line for nobody. Don't say that. You can. I grew up in Georgia
Don't
too,
say the
man. I
Democratic.
know. I
Don't say
I
the
know that
Democratic plantation.
there's
W-
just as many evil, wicked white Democrats as there are evil,
Well,
wicked
the evil,
white
wicked
white
white
Republicans.
Republicans were the one that voted down the National
The
Hair,
Crown Act.
the Crown Act.
Yeah, I know
So
that.
that was
I
your
didn't say
folks.
I didn't say I'm a Republican, ma'am. I understand. I disagree with them voting it down too. I have black daughters that wear their hair natural.
So
All I'm
then,
saying is white people get to choose to be whatever they want to be in America, and nobody says anything. Oh, white people shouldn't be Democrats. White people shouldn't be Republicans. They let them be whatever the hell they want to be. But if a black person decides to be a Green Party, if they decide to be an independent, if they don't roll Democrat, something wrong with them. is what you get from a lot of black people. We are all black, but we are not a monolith. That's what I'm saying. If we
You're not
don't
a
have,
monolith, but why are you going to align yourself with a party that votes against the anti-lynching bill?
okay,
The people in your party voted against the anti-lynching bill.
in my
Why would you
party,
align with those people?
in
Why
my
would you
party,
align with what were
Oh,
they?
oh,
Wait,
he.
let me finish.
I don't think that he's saying that he's actually Republican. I think so. I think what he's saying is this: is that, and I think that you're actually both right. Is that what she's saying is that Republicans have a lot of white supremacy, and it's
they
very
Right.
do,
apparent. Like this,
they
it's
do.
not even they absolutely do. But what he's saying is that it's just like it goes back into not only politics but even social arguments. Like it just seems like whenever a black person does something that is out
Quote
of the
unquote
range of the
norm.
typical black person, it's almost not allowed when it like if the average white person, if the average white liberal were to lecture their average white Republican family member, there would be no more racism, right? But they don't do that, and they are allowed to exist and not have to do that. But when it comes to us, if I say that I'm libertarian, oh, why won't you vote Democrat? Excuse me, that's not your business. You know, or if I say I'm a reparationist, well, does that allow a Democratic Party? Well, not always. Well, then how? Why would you not go with Democratic Party? Because they're not reparationists. They're not. They're not going to do it no matter what. They have to be. They got to be coaxed into it. There's this idea that there's a certain way to be black. Like you can't date a certain way. Like if you do interracial dating, oh, you're off code. Shut the hell up. You don't tell people who they can date or who they can't date. Or if you're gay, then you're off code. Shut the hell up. Mind your
Facts.
Yeah,
business.
yeah.
Facts.
It don't matter who you date. It don't matter where you live. It don't matter how you vote. That does not affect how black you are. We have to get over this because other communities they are allowed to. A white man can go over to Asia and date as many Asian women as they want, and no one's gonna question their freaking whiteness. A Hispanic person can go over to Black America and date a sister right now, and ain't nobody in their community gonna question their Hispanicness. No, they will not, because I've seen plenty of situations like that. I'm from South Carolina. I'm in Washington State right now. I made that trip by car 18 times by car. So trust me, this is not a generalization. I've seen it all over the country. Nobody ever judges anyone like we judge each other for doing stuff that other people do. It's bizarre. Like I can go right now to the black community and says, "Hey, I own a gun." A bunch of black people are gonna say, "Well, I don't think you should own this. You should give it up and everything because of what the freaking Democrats say." See, that's kind of things that I don't like, but I
But
never say that
I've
because
never heard a Democrat say give up your guns.
I absolutely have. I
What?
absolutely have.
They're the biggest
I
ones
absolutely have.
pushing for it. They're
I
the
well,
biggest ones
Absolutely have.
pushing
okay,
for it.
okay. First of all, I don't. Guns. They assault rifles. Yes.
We don't have assault
That
rifles.
that
We
I
don't
don't
have
I don't I
assault
don't even
rifles,
believe in
man.
that. I don't even
Look,
believe in that. That's silly
those,
because it's like
those
okay,
are not
it's
assault
it's
rifles.
it's not the average American citizen who needs to be disarmed. We're not the ones drone striking Africa right now. That's the
That's right.
government. This
That's
this
right.
are the government.
I'm
Don't
an old
don't
soldier.
don't come and disarm me.
I'm an old soldier, and I'm gonna tell you right now, an
Well, so
AR-15 would
okay,
never
sir.
go on a battlefield.
I'm a veteran as well, so
So you
I
know
know how
we
this
didn't have
goes.
AR-15s in the military. We had M16s. If you went in when I went in, that's a totally different beast. The AR-15 does not go on full auto. It's semi-auto, just like a 30-30 hunting
And
rifle.
why would we
You
need
can
a
take.
semi-automatic weapon?
That's what we hunt with anyway. We hunt with regular the wooden. Look, a wooden stock doesn't make it any less lethal. A 30-06 with a wooden stock, you can put a clip in that and put an extended
Can
mag in
can
there,
I
20 rounds,
can
and
I
it's
ask
a
a question?
semi.
You say why do we need a semi-automatic weapon? Do you realize that if we ban semi-automatic weapons, you ban 80% of all guns in the country?
You will be stuck with revolvers and
Like
bolt
bolt action
action
guns.
rifles. You'll be stuck with revolvers and bolt action rifles.
See, this is what I'm talking about. Like it's like again,
I don't think. Well, wait. I don't think that. I don't believe that anything of that magnitude should be used be be owned by a civilian. I don't.
Let me tell you what an AR-15 is. It's a NATO round 5.56. or a 223. That's a 22 caliber round with a lot of gunpowder behind it. That's all it is. A 22 caliber. The same thing that they buy for their teenage kids to learn how to hunt. A 22 caliber, a 223 round, or a 5.56 if it's going for NATO. Same exact round, different gunpowder load. It's a 22 caliber, a very small bullet. The only reason it does damage is because of the velocity and amount of gunpowder. A hunting rifle, a 30-06, a 30-30, damn near 3 times bigger than a AR-15 round on a 223, does a lot more damage. And they're readily available in every Dick's Sporting Goods, every uh, Academy Sporting Goods. Those are much bigger rounds and do a great deal more damage. And they are semi-automatic hunting rifles. They just have a wooden stock and they don't have a foregrip. That's all it is. It's the style that they're looking at, the way it's designed. It's like taking a Chevrolet pickup truck and sitting it next to a Corvette. Oh, the Corvette is a lot faster. Look how it looks. That's all it is. It's the looks that they're talking about. The AR-15 does less damage than a 30-06 hunting rifle.
He's telling the truth.
And then aside from that, like
So then why can't we just have
what
hunting
we're
rifles?
sitting here giving billions of dollars to Ukraine to defend themselves from Russia, buying those same exact AR-15s that you're talking about. When the fact of the matter is, there's not a single Ukrainian who needs to defend themselves from the Russians. Quite like black people need to defend themselves against, I don't know, U.S. police, because there are more black people killed by U.S. police than have ever been killed in Ukraine. The sixth leading cause of death for young black men is absolutely the police. That's one of the reasons why we carry guns in this particular country. In fact, we have recent cases where black men have in fact shot at cops. Like for example, Kenneth Walker, and he got paid $2 million recently. So yes, there are cases in which you can in fact shoot at the cops, come out alive, and actually get paid for it. So this idea that we're going to give Ukraine billions of dollars in AR-15s and weapons and everything else, but then tell me that I can't own a rifle, you got to make that make sense. You got to make
Look,
that make sense.
every child that I have in my home right now above the age of 18 own a firearm. My 18-year-old son, he, he got a Glock. My 19-year-old son, he got a Glock. He got an AR-15. Because in Texas at 18 you can own a long rifle, a long gun. So he's got an AK-47. He's got an AR-15, and he's got an AR-12 shotgun. And he also has a Glock. And my daughter has a rifle, and she also has a Glock. We in Texas. We live out in the country. We don't call police.
Well,
You
the
know what I'm
same
saying?
thing is
Because
finna happen in
because the
Georgia.
response time out here is 45 minutes to an hour where I live. You can't
Right.
wait on the police to save you out here.
And can I interject something? The whole mental health issue, stop that. Stop saying that nonsense, because people are just going to use that as a freaking excuse. If you ever take one little pain pill one time, mental health issue. You ever had PTSD, mental health issue. You ever had any kind of attempt on your life, mental health issue. No, we're not going to do that. Stop that. All right. God, I am so sick of people out here thinking that it should be a crime to own a gun. You walk around police officers all day, every day, and your tax dollars pay for that, and you're fine with that. But the
And
moment
they
that
do.
I say, I who have never shot a single person in my entire life, now you got an issue with it.
No, no, no. I never said I had an issue with all guns. Did I say that? I did not
Just
say that.
Just
80% of them.
I
just
did
the
not
assault.
say
Just
that
it's
I had
just
an
the assault
issue with
rifle.
all guns.
You said semi-automatic, and that's 80% of
Semi-automatic.
all guns owned in America. So you have a problem with 80% of all guns owned in America. The only ones that would be left is bolt action and revolvers.
Absolutely.
And think about what they're getting ready to do. They got the robots coming out now. They got the
Robots,
robots
yeah,
coming.
yeah. I'm gonna need
So
my rifle.
the biggest thing
Seriously.
that we need, the biggest thing that we need in our community is education. There is absolutely nothing wrong with you having a firearm to defend you and your family. There's
I did not say
absolutely
it was.
no.
I did not
Let me
say a
finish,
firearm
ma'am.
was
Let me
wrong.
finish. There's absolutely nothing wrong with owning an AR-15 semi-automatic rifle. Okay, there's nothing wrong with it.
Absolutely.
It is not a military style rifle. It just looks like one. No military in current history would dare take an AR-15 to war. They would not dare take an AR-15 to war. That's why they have
especially given that
they have a
vast
three
majority
to
of
five
them.
round burst, and then they have semi 3 to 5 and full auto on some of these things that they use in the military. I went in back in '85. We didn't get a 3 to 5 round burst until I was getting ready to get out. Somebody mentioned, oh, they got a 3 round burst in the comments. Dude, I'm old. I went in back in the '80s. I went in back before they got the new technology and weapons that they have in the military now. But even those M16s back then are more powerful. Well, I wouldn't say more powerful. They put more rounds down range faster than an AR. The AR
Yeah,
only shoots 1 round per trigger pull. It will shoot as fast as you can pull your finger across the trigger. That's it. That's the only thing it does. That's it. It's no more dangerous than a hunting rifle. A dude with an extended mag and a hunting rifle can pop down range just as many rounds as an AR-15, but do more damage. See, we have
yeah,
to become educated on the subjects that we want to vote against. You can't just
yeah.
blindly vote against something because that's the rhetoric of the day. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
why. That's why I say
Had
like
it
we
not
gotta be
been for,
careful with
had
this
it not
whole
been for the
Democrat Republican thing.
firearms, had it not been for the firearms in the hands of black men and women, when the Klan came a knocking at your door in Georgia, y'all would be in a whole lot worse situations than
Right.
y'all in today. Those firearms saved a lot of black families from the Klan. So I will never vote for a piece of legislation to have people getting losing their rights to own a firearm that's a semi-automatic. Hey, if you can go through all the hoops to get a full auto rifle, you got to have a federal firearms permit and all that good stuff. If you can go through the hoops to get that, more power to you. But a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people don't do it. They just An AR-15 ain't no more dangerous than a regular hunting gun, man.
Yeah.
30 on 6 ain't no joke.
Yeah, that'll put a hole in you. But no. Here's the thing that I want people to understand about gun rights. The reason why Democrats push gun rights in particular, they don't want black people to be armed. They don't like black people either.
Right.
See, people have this idea where Republican bad, Democrat bad. We have to get over this caveman way of thinking. They all don't like black people.
That's a fact.
They none of them like us. Did
That's a
you
Especially
not
with
fact.
see what
guns.
happened with the LA City Council? They don't like us.
Mm-hmm.
Look at New York. They don't like us. Look at Colorado. Look at so many black people harmed in freaking Chicago. Look at Colorado. You look at North Carolina. You look at South Carolina. You look at Georgia. You look at Florida. Good God, Texas. You just had the guy get convicted for what happened with Tatiana Jefferson. Listen, we are past the point of falling for scare tactics. There's not a bunch of mass shootings every single day. It happens very sparingly. We are the third most populated country on planet Earth. So when the news media reports on it every single day, it seems like it's every single day, but it's not.
Most gun violence deaths occur by use of handguns anyway, not long
And
rifles.
then on top of that, they don't even differentiate between someone using it as a defense thing or someone using it as an actual crime. When you look at the actual stats, how many times do people actually break that down? And they claim to, but they are always lying in every single case. I found that the vast majority of people who push gun control either don't research it or they're racist. I'm telling you, if you go and research it, you'll find that is the case without exception every single time. And this is where a lot of black people who defend gun control, if they actually heard racist white people defend it too, they would never support it because you sound just like them and don't
Somebody
even
said they
realize it.
don't lock. Somebody said they don't lock white people up for guns. They lock us up for guns, bro. We walk right next to the police out here with our guns on in Texas.
Exactly.
It's open carry out here now. You can
Shit,
strap up
Georgia,
and
Georgia the same way.
you stand right next to the police, and they won't say nothing to you. They don't jump. They don't flinch because they know it's a constitutional right to open carry in Texas now, and you can carry concealed. They don't even check you for that now. You can walk down the street with your rifle strapped on your back out here as long as you're not carrying in a threatening manner. They can't even stop you and ask you for ID because that's the law. You have a right to do it. And these people aren't doing all these shootings like they trying to portray it on TV. Man, that's just media hype, man. We all have known for years that big media pushes the Democratic agenda. The more of us they unarm, the easier it is for the government to manage us, man.
let
Look,
me let me ask you a question. If you don't think it for anyone who doesn't think that it's Democrats pushing this nonsense and that Democrats can make you think nonsense, right? How did Native Americans ever get into the reparations conversation? It wasn't Republicans,
It's Democrats.
Democrats,
Native
It was
Americans
Stacey
already
Abrams.
received reparations, though. They did not
But it
receive
was
it.
Stacey
They,
Abrams who kept mentioning that Native Americans and black people getting reparations in concert. She kept doing that. I actually met Stacey Abrams and I told her off to her face for doing that. I said, Stacey, stop doing this. You understand what you're doing. You're muddying the waters, and therefore, when it when it comes time for us to actually get paid, people are going to undermine us. You know what you're doing. And her response was, well, if we don't include certain other groups, then everyone's going to be against it. So basically, you're gonna sell us out
exactly.
because you think that other groups are going to be against us. I don't want to hear about how Democrats are so great. No. I'm not saying that Republicans are great, but I don't want to hear about how Democrats are great. I treat them both the same. They're
See,
both
I
trash.
grew up. I grew up in Georgia before I moved to Texas, and those same white people that voted Democrats are the same ones whose neighborhoods you couldn't come in because you were black.
Exactly. And
I
mind
grew
you,
up.
if the if the
I grew
political
up in
left,
the. I grew up in the late '60s and '70s. You know what I'm saying? And I walked through white neighborhoods and got chased out of them fucking neighborhoods, man. You know what I'm saying? I faced that kind of racism all the time growing up back in Georgia. And these are the very same people that vote Democrat. So to say
yeah,
that that it's not a plantation, it's still a plantation because
It
they
is.
still want you to think in your brain that they're your friend, and all the policies that they push and all the regulations that they pass has absolutely dick shit to do with black people because they don't want you to get up out of where you are now. That's why they don't have policies in place to help you get better. They help you maintain where you are. They want you to stay in your place, know your place. Don't get out your lane, stay where you're at. That's why
Every
some of
I agree with
every
what
aspect.
I'm sorry, ma'am. I want you to go because you've been waiting for so long and you haven't spoken.
It's like every aspect of the governmental entities have been affected, and it has hindered us as Black African Americans from continue on doing what we need to do. We do things in decent and order, like file complaints, and this is from my personal experience that we do everything in decent and order, like file complaints with the Office of Civil Rights, the Department of Justice, the FBI. And if you go back and look at some of my videos, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not talking out of the side of my neck. This is stuff I'm experiencing right now as we speak with the ongoing corruption, governmental entities involved in every aspect because they continue to ignore the complaints we file and continue to hinder us in every aspect. I'm a certified welder. There's no reason why I should not have a job right now. And they're in need of welders all over the country. And for me to keep going through what I'm going through, where I'm getting blackballed because I'm filing complaints, doing what I need to do in decent and order. And I'm going to give you a synopsis of what happened. And this is what happened to
go ahead, go
me.
ahead. That's fine. Go
Um,
ahead.
I was in Washington State. My son, I was a whistleblower. They told me if I ever said anything, my son, I would never see my son again. My son ends up getting hit by a car in a coma for 23 days. The ongoing retaliation just continued. When he gets out of the coma, goes back to school, they he has a seizure in the pool. Mind you, I'm working at the time. He has a seizure in the pool, gets locked up for 2 counts of indecent liberties because I go and confront the school about they didn't call the paramedics for him. They locked him up 2 days later after I confronted them. I filed a complaint with the Department of Education. The Department of Education said, okay, we found them guilty of discrimination, retaliation, um, discrimination on your son's race and his disability, and falsely locking him up. That was a multi-million-dollar lawsuit. Then they continued on with their retaliation. You can go look it up. He goes over to Clover Park College. He has another seizure. They called the wrong parent to the hospital. The wrong parent. And then on top of that, they sent him not to Fort Lewis, but they sent him to a hospital they wasn't even supposed to be going to. Then they called somebody else's parent and told them that it was their child. They get to the hospital, they're like, that's not our kid. It was mine. Then they continued on with the ongoing retaliation by putting in my medical records that I had HIV/AIDS. I sued them and I won. And they continued on. Me and my husband, we moved to Fort Bragg, and they continued on. They followed me. They followed me and they continued on with their ongoing retaliation. And when I tell you guys, it's so much I could tell you right now. I just don't want to take up the time on this live. But what happened to me in North Carolina when I got there with their ongoing retaliation, I'm a business owner. I have a welding company, and I got a contract with North Carolina Department of Public Safety that turned into contract violations, then criminal activity, and then organized crime. That's exactly what happened to me. And I did everything in decent and order. And when you go back and you look at my videos, you will see exactly what I'm talking about, where they continue to hinder us as African Americans. And if we do not get together collectively, and hit both of these parties, because neither one of them are right. I don't care if you vote Democrat or Republican. It's about American greed here.
Right.
Because they will not listen to us.
Let me just say this. When it comes to reparations, y'all, I'm going after the money. I'm new to this and I'm trying to,
Exactly.
stay caught up on the news right now. Uh, as far as everything else, the land and stuff, that'll come after. But right now, y'all, I got to get the money. And like you
Yeah.
said, it's, greedy America, and if they're trying to short us, we got to take whatever we could take. Hey, Cab, if you got like, I'm following you, man. If you got like 12 of us, and we all following you, man, let's just get this money, y'all. We got to be
Yeah.
productive collectively. We got strong black men out here, and let's go ahead and just stay focused on the right objectives. And just last night, there was a police shooting out here in Iowa. And I'm not even from out here. So back in 2018, when I did come out here, the water was sabotaged and they start having a boil water advisory. But right before that, in Detroit, that's when all that water got they couldn't fix the water out there.
Right.
So the stuff that they got going on, and we we got to come together as the black community like we supposed to. The
Yeah.
Million Man March, y'all, it's over 1 million of us.
Yeah.
And they always say, let's have a seat at the table. The table is not big enough. The table
Yeah.
is not big enough. For all our problems and all our issues, they don't have a table big enough for that. And
No.
they put these policies and procedures into place, and they enact them, but they never act on them. They put federal funding in these policies and procedures that we don't know about, because if we don't go and look at them, and our elected officials, this is exactly what they do time and time again. If you go and stand in front of the legislative building in your state, watch how
Mm.
many of them come to work whenever they want to come to work. These are our tax dollars. Why are we not
Mm.
making a fuss about this? They come to work whenever they want to come to work. But if we come to work whenever we want to come to work, we are fired, we're reprimanded, all that. But they could come to work anytime they want. They could
Yep.
get to work, go for a jog at 8 o'clock after they done clocked in. These are elective
Mm.
officials now.
I've
But
stood
but
outside the
you know
building
why
and
they
I
do that?
recorded
Let
them.
me tell you why
Mm.
they do that. Because y'all keep putting them back in office.
Exactly. That's the exact point I'm talking
Y'all
about.
keep putting them back in office. See,
And when they keep
There's a
putting
few
them back
things
in
that we
office,
need.
they don't want to hear it.
There's a few things that we need to look at, and one of the first things we need to look at is removing politicians who ain't never done shit for us. The ones
That's
that look
right.
Yeah.
like us, that claim they for us, but they never do shit for us. Because when Biden signed that bill and sent that money to Africa in reparations, they should have stood up then and said, "Mr. President, you can't call that reparation." I bet you a single politician stood against him on the on that point, saying that that's reparations to Africa. Who the fuck in their right mind believe that deserves reparations because of slavery? They don't.
Exactly.
They don't deserve shit. The descendants of slaves in America deserve it, if anybody. Period.
Right.
You know,
You
I'm black, but I didn't come from slavery. None of my people were enslaved, so I don't deserve it. Not a penny of it. But I'm all for black Americans who came from slavery, who are the descendants of slaves, getting some form of reparations for over 400 years of atrocities that happened to black people in this country. I
Right.
agree with that wholeheartedly. I agree that we need
brother,
to get rid of I agree that we need to get rid of black politicians that don't stand for blacks in America, but they'll send $90 billion to Ukraine to help the Ukrainian people. We ain't got shit to do with what's going on with Russia and Ukraine. That's
oh, we got a
between
lot.
them.
Wait, hold up. We got a
We do
lot
have a
to
lot
do
to do
with it.
with that.
We got a lot to do with it. If you look at, I want you to go back and look at my videos. If you look at Lloyd's of London, Lloyd's of London came from the UK, starting in Ukraine. Lloyd's of London provides governmental entities with insurance. Not only that, they provide legal assistance to individuals that cannot pay for an attorney. They have apologized back in 2019 for uh their ongoing uh um activity with the slave trade. They apologized for it. Then they turned around. If you look up Washington State Lloyd's of London, game over. This is what they continue to do to us time and time again. Is they continue to find another way to keep us enslaved. So what the Lords of London and these attorneys and these attorney generals and these people that have been fired in other states for their ongoing corruption in the judicial system, they get hired in other states because of who they know, and they continue on with their pattern of corruption, collusion, racketeering, and all that. This is what they do. And so when they go in there, and I don't know who this is, Mr. Walker, Walk, Jay Walk. Let me
Yeah.
tell you, what they do is they get in there in the courthouse. I'm your attorney, and we go and we talk to the prosecutor and the judge. Now I want y'all to play y'all game now because we're gonna give Mr. Walk, Jay Walk, 20 years. We're gonna come back in the courtroom. They're gonna say, we're gonna give you 20 years. Okay? I'm gonna look at you and say, I'm gonna file an appeal. Knowing damn well I ain't gonna file that appeal because guess what? I've been paid on the back end. Lloyd's of London is involved in this corruption. If you look them up, you will see exactly what I'm talking about. Lloyd's of London game over. Lloyd's of London apologizing for the slave trade. You think about how many family members you have that have been locked up that were innocent. Think about it. Think about how many family members have been locked up in jail for
Mm.
20 years for something they did not do. That should make everybody angry. That should piss everybody off because they continue on with their pattern of corruption. And I want to tell you, it has affected me and my son's case in the state of Washington. It has affected me in the state of North Carolina because elective officials that are involved in the corruption, the collusion, the racketeering, all of that, nobody holds them accountable because guess what? They think they're above the law. And that's why we deserve this reparations. We
I,
deserve it.
ma'am, I said I agree with what you just said. I said we ain't got no business in Ukraine. We ain't got
But
shit to do
guess
with the
what? Guess
Ukraine.
what, sir? Guess what? They are distracting us right now. You
I
know,
got
you
that.
want to know why they
I
went
get
and bombed Ukraine?
I
Look where Lloyd's
get
of
that.
London started at. into
I
Ukraine.
understand that. I understand that all of this is a distraction, but what I'm saying is we don't have nothing to do with Russia and Ukraine. We don't. Ukraine used to be a part of Russia. For years, the Ukrainian military has been bombing Russian citizens and doing things to Russian citizens inside Ukraine, people that were living there that was Russian nationals. Okay.
Yeah.
So there was a problem going on for years prior to this. And
I
yes, it
understand
is a
that.
distraction. It is a distraction because of Burisma and the Hunter Biden deals that he was doing. Man had no knowledge of the oil and gas industry, yet he was making millions of dollars on the board of Burisma. So yeah, there's some cover up going
I,
on. There's some hide throwing a rock and hiding a hand going on. A whole lot of mess going on. But this is our money. We got people hurting here in America. Why not put 90 billion back into America? Fuck
Exactly.
Ukraine. Fuck
You
Ukraine.
you think that, and the reason why I say Ukraine, brother, the reason why I say it's a lot involved with Ukraine is because of the simple fact is they're doing things to distract us from what is going on in the judicial system. If you go look up at Lloyd's of London Game Over, you can see they are the biggest RICO network in the United States history right now, and they are being investigated. Do you understand what I'm saying? They are being investigated because of what they've done in the system, where it's going to be when this story actually breaks, there's going to be so many people that are going to be owed millions, and I'm talking about millions of dollars, to where they've taken people that you just think about how much funds, federal dollars, have been allocated to the states and then to the counties and the cities. And then they take this money and they do nothing with it. Nothing. Absolutely zip zero. They hold on to it to say, okay, they'll never find out. They'll never figure it out. So we're going to use it and we're going to pat in our pockets. That's what they continue to do time and time again. And nobody is understanding that we have a right to whatever is allocated to the states. Now, I'm gonna just go back for a second here. We had a hurricane that happened in North Carolina too. North Carolina got over $10 billion, and it was supposed to go to the counties in the states. Instead of them giving the money to the people that it's owed to, they went and built a fucking baseball stadium. Excuse my language. But then we have people, our forefathers, our grandmothers, our aunts, our uncles that have lived in these homes and kept a home for the family. And then when the flood comes through our homes, what do? They say, you got 90 days to fix this house. And if you do not fix this house, we are taking it.
Mm-hmm.
This is what's going on in our communities. So
right.
when we don't come together collectively and they continue to do this time and time, it pisses me off. It makes me mad because I'm thinking about my great aunt, or my great aunt in the fields picking cotton so they can take the shack and turn it into a house, and then for the city to come take it. That's wrong on
Yeah.
every level. And if we don't come together collectively and make these things happen, nothing's ever going to change.
Now, are
They're
these
gonna do
things
that.
that we're saying to our legislators and our politicians about the laws that they pass and the bills that they write? See, we listen to them and we listen to them tell us what they want to do to help us, but they ain't telling us shit that's gonna help us. They telling us
Right.
shit
No,
that's gonna get them. They telling us shit to
because
get them elected. Because if they were
look what
gonna
they
do
do.
something,
They go behind closed doors. And I'm gonna give you another scenario. You had in North Carolina when COVID-19 hit. I want y'all to think about what I'm saying here. COVID-19 hit. They came out with the 704 bill. In that 704 bill, they passed it on a weekend. In that 704 bill, they allocated $300 million to DOT. Now, you tell me what DOT got to do with COVID-19. Now,
nothing,
they passed
nothing.
right. They passed it on that weekend. That Monday, a report came out by the New York Times
that North Carolina had mismanaged funds over $740 million. You tell me, does that make sense? $740 million, DOT, Department of Transportation. You knew that weekend that they had overspent, mismanaged funds over $740 million, but you allocate $300 million to them. Now tell me what kind of sense that makes
It makes none.
within a couple of days.
It makes about as much sense as us voting for the same people over and over again that still
Exactly.
continue to do nothing. See,
Right.
Exactly.
I want to ask
there
that
are more
question.
choices. There are more choices that come out there and go across the stage, but people tend to always vote for the incumbent. They seem to always vote. Well, I've got experience. You got experience. What the hell has your experience done for us? You know what I'm saying? The way this
Right.
country was, if you look at their constitution that they wrote, the way the country was founded, and the way the government was set up, you come in, you do the job as a politician, then you go back to your job and somebody else come in and do it. It wasn't designed for a motherfucker to work in politics for 40 years. And how you a politician and you end up with a net worth of $500 million, it don't add up. You know, there's a lot of corruption in there, but we vote just because we're a Republican. We vote for an R. We're a Democrat. We vote for a D. We don't look beyond the party and look at the person. We just vote for them blindly. When there's other politicians that come out there that will do a good job, but because they don't have the financial backing and because they don't have the right person saying, "Hey, I approve this guy," just because they don't have that, they look the other way and they look to the guy that's always been there or the lady that's always been there, and you keep voting the same way and you keep getting the same results every
Exactly.
time. That's why the shit is fucked up now. Sometimes you gotta step outside of the box and vote for somebody who may do a better job than the guy that has all the experience.
And
An
we don't go and look at in
an
the
experienced
policies and
I
procedures.
politician.
gotta ask a question though. I gotta ask a
Yeah,
question,
bro.
guys. So, speaking of the actual subject of screaming, speaking of actual experience in politics, all that stuff, which party do you think, like after? Okay, so let's get a hypothetical situation. Let's say we've already received reparations. Which party do we stick with or not stick with, or what do you think we should go as a black community in terms of politics?
Honestly, am from my opinion, I think we need to hit both parties collectively, and really the Republicans are mainly the ones that's on that has it on the table for us to get reparations. I mean, Biden's, they talked about it, but nobody's acting on it. Look what Ice Cube said. He said the Republicans are willing to put $500 billion on the table right now. So
No,
where
they're
do we
not.
go?
Where are they doing that at?
He went and talked to him. Ice Cube went to talk to them. He doesn't get involved with the rhetoric of either party, and neither do I. But my thing is, if neither party is doing nothing and still hasn't done nothing for us, why do we have to keep going in this same realm for the next 4 years or the next 400 years and let our kids experience what our kids gonna be on live? What in another 100 years talking about the
Man,
same situation?
Well,
If we don't come
thirteen
together
point.
In
collectively
California they
and
are
and,
proposing
and put these
reparations.
policies and procedures in place,
That's
and you
California.
know
We're
what?
talking about
What
on a
really
nation. We're
kills
talking
me
about on a
is
national level. We're talking about on a national level. You're talking California. We're talking about national for all
yeah,
black
we
people
talking about a
everywhere they go.
national level.
Now, see, here's the thing: we're 13.6% of the population in America. If we removed all of our votes, it still wouldn't make a fucking difference because we're only
Exactly.
13. We're only 13%. And honestly, I know we may have some white allies, but at the end of the day, you're gonna vote for what works for you. You're gonna vote for
Exactly.
those things that matter to you. You know, I don't care if I got a black friend. This ain't gonna work for me if I vote for him. That's basically at the end of the day how it goes. So once if we remove ourselves from the equation, the shit's still gonna be the way the shit gonna be. That's all it
So
is. You
just
know,
listen. They gonna dislike you anyways.
they're
Just
gonna
just
dislike
just,
you.
just go for
They're
it.
gonna dislike you anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Go for it.
Yeah. You got to get
So
in the
I
mindset of.
want everybody on this stage to get paid. I want all y'all to get paid. If you have the ability, if you can trace the lineage, I want you to get paid. Because listen,
Exactly.
they gonna dislike you anyways. They gonna hate you anyways.
And if we don't come together collectively, nothing is going to get done. And we have to do it not only just in one state, we got to do it in all states. I mean,
Yeah.
because nothing is ever going to change. Nothing's going to change if we don't come together collectively. If we, you know, I'm gonna tell you what I experienced. You know, when I every time I called the police in regards to my situation, they would tell me, go talk to your elected officials. But my elected officials are the main ones
Yeah.
involved in the corruption and the fraud. So you telling me to go to the same people to get them investigated? How you gonna tell me to get the police to investigate themselves, or
Well,
public
Right.
the police
officials that
do
are
it all
doing
the time.
wrong to
The
investigate
police
themselves?
investigate themselves all the time. You know,
Exactly.
there's a couple of things that need to change, and people don't like it when you tell the truth. But at 13.6% of the population, everybody in the country, less minus the Native Americans and probably a few other minorities in this country, can outvote us on anything if they choose to, because we're only 13.6% of the population. For far too long, we've been trying to live like others in America, and we've been following along suit with what they do. Abortion was never
Yeah.
a thing for the Black community until Margaret Sanger brought it out and designed it specifically to create genocide in the Black community. And they pushed it and set it up in our communities. And over time, our quest to be like them put us right up in there. And we've unalived over 20 million babies since abortion came into practice. And now we fight for it. We fight to have abortions, but we're only 13.6%. We don't have the numbers to do a fucking thing by ourselves in America,
Wow.
because we don't keep our own. We get rid of them. We
We
get
That's
fight for
right.
the
rid
Yeah.
right to choose.
We
Yes,
destroy
you
them.
have a
That's
right
what
to
we
choose
do.
to
We
keep
we
your
allow the
legs
mainstream
closed.
media to
You
destroy
have a
our
right
own
to
everything
choose
else.
to
Yeah.
wear condoms. You have a right to choose to take birth control. You have a
Sir,
right to choose.
if your daughter got raped
Oh.
tomorrow,
We're not talking about that. That's a small percentage of it, ma'am, and you know it. That's a straw man argument right there.
that is
Okay,
not a straw man
I'm
argument.
56 years old.
This
Okay,
is
I've
going
been
to.
around the block a time or two. We know that
All
there's a
right.
very small percentage, and there are caveats for that, man. I'm in agreement
All right.
with that. In that situation, yes, have that. But I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about incest. I'm not talking about SA. I'm talking about the average person that decides, I don't want it now. They get mad at a man, I don't want it now. The man decides he don't want it and force her to get it. Those kind of issues, those things like that, those are the very reasons why our numbers are low. Y'all forget that in America, in Native American culture, they gave young women hysterectomies after they gave birth to one baby, and they just stopped that in the late 70s, early 80s, giving them hysterectomies against their will and against their knowledge. And that's the same thing they used abortion for, to genocide the Black population in America. They did this by design, and we fell for the hook, line, and sinker. That's what we need to
Hmm.
think. There's a lot of things you can do to prevent getting pregnant. I'm not talking about those bad situations. I'm not talking about health
Sir,
conditions that will
you
cause
know
you to
what?
perish.
Just very, I'm 53 years old, 54. I
Uh-huh.
will be 54 in a week. Just really clear transparency here. I've gotten pregnant twice on birth control.
Okay.
So please, please don't do that. And as a woman, I have a right to choose if I'm protecting myself and I still got pregnant, I have a right to choose as a human being what I want to do with my body.
Right. I think that I kind of allow this conversation to kind of go like free range. 'Cause I want black people to kind of have a free exchange of ideas, right? But the original topic of this stream was about reparations, and we have
Yes.
gotten so far out of the weeds
Beyond
here.
that.
So let's not go at each other. Listen, there's enough white supremacists out here that are going to go at each other. Let's not do that here. All right.
Exactly.
You are a beautiful black woman. You are a brilliant black brother. We are not here to go at each other. So the topic that I wanted to discuss was reparations, but I think there's also another aspect that you guys are not looking at this at. How do you think people are going to try to undermine it? And how do you think people are going to try to sneak in to get reparations? How do you think white people are going to try to get try to get reparations? And what are some of the methods they're gonna use?
I think that
I know what they're going to use, the minority. the minority,
Right.
because when you talk about minority, some of the white women
Who's
are
us?
considered as minority. So they're going to sneak that in some way, somehow, because they've done it time and time again. You think about um, how they say, well, we need minority participation on a contract, for instance. I'm just throwing a scenario out there. We need minority participation. Well, you say we need minority participation. Well, who are you talking about? You talking about the white woman or the black woman? And they don't even meet that 1%, 2% minority participation, because you can go back and look at the disparity studies. You can go back and look at the discriminations that have occurred in each state, and nobody holds them accountable, because again, they think they're above the law, so they're going to make the laws and the policies and procedures conducive for them so that they can receive some of this funding.
I
Right.
agree with you. Hmm.
Yep.
Right.
Uh, Minority-owned businesses do include white women because they consider white women to be a minority, and
That's right.
a lot of those white women are married to white men who actually own the company.
That's right.
Right. Do you think that when it comes to undermining reparations, they're gonna do it through using white women, or is it gonna be just using other groups? It's kind of like okay, so I'm gonna say this. A buffer group. A buffer group is a group that is not a black American group, that is used as a black group that passes as black but can be used against black Americans. Do you understand like what I mean? And not everybody who's a part of the buffer group participates in the buffer activity. It's just like, for example, you can bring somebody over from the Caribbean, right? And those people, the sole purpose of bringing them here is to undermine us, you know.
Yeah.
And that happens all too often. Do you think it's going to be like that method, or do you think it's going to be more of the interracial, make the whole race mixing thing? Do you think that's going to be the way,
I
or what?
think both, my brother.
Both.
I think both, because the simple fact is, you got, let's say again, major corporations that come in and they put subsidiaries up under their business. I could be their subsidiary. I'm a black owned business. I'm 100% owned. So they're going to use that. And they put policies and procedures into place to make it conducive for them, in order for them. And I guarantee you right now, they are sitting around planning. Okay, if we give them reparations, we need to put this policy, this procedure in place so we can get some of this funding. I can promise you they're
Oh,
doing
yeah.
that.
Do you think that they're going to try to adopt black children?
They're doing it now.
I mean, I don't know how wise it is, because I mean, adopting a child. It's not like, you're going to just go to like a grocery store and just get a child and then just come back. I think that if you're going to adopt the child, it's going to be more along lines of it's not worth it, to try to like do it like that. I mean, you can't just take the child back, right? Like
Yeah.
the very next day after you get the money, right? There's a whole process.
Well, I'll tell you what they'll probably do is they're going to probably make you prove your history. They're going to make you prove your family background. You're going to be
Right.
able to track. You're going to be able to have to track it back through a quantum blood count or through a paper trail to show that your family are actual descendants of slaves. And then they'll
Right.
probably try and say, if this was a slave, this money would have went to one slave, this amount. And now that it's 10 of y'all that are left behind from that one slave, we're going to break it down 10 ways. They're going to come up with a way to spread it around, but make sure they don't give a lot out to everybody.
That's
Exactly.
Right.
gonna be kind of crazy though, because there's a lot of slaves, especially down south, that had a lot of children. Like my great grandfather's brother had 14 kids, and thus their lineage is like long.
Were
So
any of those 14 kids slaves?
no, our great grandparents were slaves. So
Okay.
what I'm saying is, my great grandfather, they moved. He was chased out of South Carolina, advocating for the right for black men to vote. But his brothers stayed down in South Carolina, and his brother had 14 kids to help farm. I mean, because that's what they just have big families. But so you're saying that they would do a quantum for they would
The,
divide
the
it amongst all those people? That wouldn't be
well,
fair.
well, there's several different ways they can find out your lineage. They can do it through blood, and they can do it through a paper trail. There are a lot of families in America that held on to everything of their family history that can prove it right away. But
Right.
when it comes to divvying out the monies, they'll probably come up with some bullshit like, well, the one who was most affected by it would have been the child of the former slave. If he had one child and then he had children and grandchildren and so on, and they'll take that one lump sum per slave at whatever they equate that amount to be and spread it out amongst that family. The government has been known for doing. I mean, look at these large lawsuits when they do these class action lawsuits. You can qualify for a class action lawsuit and get $10 fucking
Mm-hmm.
because you qualify. So you can qualify for reparations, and because the population has grown tremendously since enslavement, the generations after the slave, if they decide to do the trickery that they always do, the corruption in the government that they always do, they can say, well, this is what this slave would have gotten in today's economy. So we'll go back to where that slave was and start with his children. And all the descendants of that will break it down over that number. Some people might fall for that shit in government and say, this is what we'll do, or we'll do nothing at all.
And what about the slave masters that had children with the black women? Think about
But
that.
those, well,
And
well,
their
those
own
children,
and their families that are a part of it, because now, okay, the
but you got to
child is
remember
in the
those children
family.
you got to remember, sister, those children that they had with the slave stayed with the slave. They didn't live with the slave master because the slave master wasn't going to keep them half black children when the slaves was gone. He sent them
Understood.
home with their mama. So they would still fall under the category of being a slave. So even those children that were slaves during slavery, they would qualify for the full benefit, and their offspring, if they do it way I'm thinking they may try to pull it.
Yeah, where
Those
I was going
children
with
that
it
were
was the
slaves,
slave. Where I was
yeah,
going with it was the slave master, since he's the father of that child. Would
he don't get
would
shit.
would their would his family be entitled
Oh
to
no,
that?
no,
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
no, because they're white.
Hmm.
They're white. Not, the actual slave master and his family, they're not African slaves that were in bondage, so they won't get a penny of it.
But I'm
But
saying they will make some type of policy or procedure to put in place to say, okay, he's the father of this child, and he's a descendant of slaves. You understand what I'm saying?
well,
So
the
so
father,
basically you're saying that okay, so my one of my ancestors was a breeder. She was purchased
hmm
as a breeder, and
hmm
she bred 13 children, I believe it was. But like out of her 13, 6 of them were sold, but the 4 that she kept were mulatto. So we're thinking, or I don't remember the number, but the ones that remain with her were mulatto. So we're thinking that the ones that remain with her were probably that of the slave master.
Hmm.
So they, so you don't think that they should be allowed to have reparations?
no, no, no. She was talking about the slave master itself.
Just, yeah, the slave master itself.
No, the
Oh,
slave
okay. But
master,
the slave
It
masters
would it
got
would be
reparations.
it
yeah,
would be it would be some type of a way they could throw that in there, saying, okay, yeah, the slave master, he was the father of these children. Now he's a descendant of slaves, so now we could give him reparations. I don't
do
know if
you
I
remember
worded
what
that
you
right.
remember what just recently happened with George Floyd? Multiply that by 10.
Hmm.
Think about that. If they did that, you think the George Floyd shit was an uproar. If they come back with a policy and say we're gonna give the slave master, the slave owner reparations, the
Yes,
whole fucking country would
But
implode.
they wouldn't do that
Exactly.
because first of
but they
all,
would find. Let me tell you something, you guys. We saying that they would not do that. They would, because they keep doing it every day. Every day. They keep, putting policies and procedures into place. But look what they're doing. They're doing stuff underhanded to
The
where we
reason
don't even know about it
the reason
until
I
it's too
say
late.
the reason I say that they wouldn't do it or they couldn't do it is because they already all slave masters in the country got reparations for slaves when they were set free. They were already paid reparations. So for every slave who was
That's
set
what
free,
that's what I'm talking about. They were already paid reparations, but they will find a way to get this money once we are, if they grant us an amount of reparations, they will find a way. Look what they did. That money shouldn't have went to the slave masters. It should have went to the slaves so they can continue on with their lives. But it went to the slave master.
right,
It went
And the only
straight to the
reason
slave master.
that they justified that because the slaves were considered property of the
property,
slave master, and
yes,
Exactly.
when they had to release them, one of the parts of ending that war was, okay, we're gonna pay y'all, we're gonna give you money because you losing now. You know what I'm saying? They had free help. Now you have no help. You got to pay people to come help. So we're gonna pay you for it. And listen, here's a thing right here that a lot of people, I don't know, maybe a lot of people know, maybe they don't. That war wasn't about freeing slaves because there were still two states allowed to have slaves
That's
during
facts.
during the Civil War.
That's correct.
And the only reason they were allowed is because they chose not to fight against the Union.
right,
So
Hmm.
that's why the slave thing came into play, because the then president said, if you decide to go to war with us, when we whoop your ass, we're gonna free your slaves. That was what it was. It wasn't a
Hmm.
fight. They didn't fight to free slaves. They told those states that wanted to stay separated from the Union. That's what the Civil War was. They wanted two countries inside of this country. So the current president of the Union literally told the southern states that wanted to fight, if you fight, when we whoop your ass, we're gonna free your slaves. But there were two other states that said, Mr. President, we ain't gonna fight. And they allowed them to continue slavery until the 13th Amendment was ratified.
But
All
not
through
getting
the
off the
Civil
subject.
War, they still had slaves. Even after the war, they still had slaves until the 13th Amendment was ratified.
I will say this for anybody: if this does go through, and if the government does say anything about, well, if your ancestors received manumission, so manumission was granted to some slaves for their freedom. Well, those slave masters were also paid by the Union to set their slaves free uh, to fight for the Union, as well as the slaves in the South who were made to fight for the Confederacy. They were also paid. So the Union paid for slave owners for slave owners to let their slaves go in the North, as well as the Confederacy did in the South. So
Right.
if you see your man, really pay attention when you're doing your historical you're doing your ancestry chart, and you see like one of your ancestors, like I have two ancestors who received manumission in 1832, but they received manumission because one of them was going to war. They were going to participate in the Civil War eventually.
Yeah, that comment he just made, the South had the product and the North manufactured. That's very true. The cotton was picked in the South and it was manufactured in the North.
That's
It,
right.
it, so they both had a hand in it. You know, People say, yeah, the slaves ran up north to freedom. Okay, well, yeah, there was a lot of abolitionists in the North, but there were also a lot of people who allowed the bounty hunters to come up north and recapture slaves. There was
Facts,
still a lot of
facts,
people. There was still a lot of people up north who told freed slaves that you need to go back where you came from.
facts.
It didn't
Hmm.
it
Ooh,
didn't matter that
facts.
they were in the north. They moved from the south to the north to make money. And then they got up there and they saw the same people that ran away from captivity up there with them wearing a suit and a tie. You're not like me. Go back where you come from.
And they
So
still say it in now.
and they still do it. And they still do it. So all that stuff about the North and the South, you got the same people that migrated from the South up north. The only difference was you did have some people who were truly compassionate and didn't believe in slavery that helped Harriet and people like her free a lot of slaves. Because there were a lot of abolitionist white people that put their lives on the line to make sure some black people got set free. A
Right.
lot of them. So
So yeah,
just because they were up north don't mean they were free. They were free, but they
But
still got done in up there.
speaking of
But
that, guys, speaking of freedom, I have a job I have to do tomorrow, so I want to actually bring some people on for more continued discussions. I think this is a very good discussion. I think that we started off going hot. That we had some people going at each other, and then they kind of made up, and now we kind of see each other on the same page, right? Because we all see that we all here for black people. Period.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah. Black one.
So,
Right.
hey guys, until next time, I love you all. Hey, thank you, Spades and Dominoes, D Love, Magic Blue,
much
65,
love,
and
everybody.
Jay
Much
Walk.
love.
Thank you.
Sister Girl Jess, I want to give a shout out to her. She was my moderator. Sister Girl Jess,
she
she's
did an
always
excellent
been.
job.
She did an excellent job. She did because that was rough. And all my moderators, man, Easy E, everybody in the chat. Thank you so much for joining me. This is a great conversation.
Yes, it is.
Especially
Yes, it
love that my
was.
black women came up, man, because we need that we need our women because our
Oh yeah,
women,
the backbone, of course.
men. Listen, I can't be in a room full of men. I just can't, man. Cause like men, we always want to be right. We always want to like measure our freaking
Exactly.
things and everything.
Right.
We always want to get into that freaking contest. But a woman brings a different kind of energy, man.
Yes, they do.
And we need it.
Yes.
We need it
Yeah.
so bad. Thank y'all
Well,
for coming on.
All
you
right,
know,
you're
it
welcome.
has been said that the woman is the jewel in our crown.
Oh yes. God, and they make things so much better. I don't think I can be on this planet without freaking women, man. I just can't do it. I can't
Well,
do it.
thank you for saying that because we do need that every
We
day.
got we
God,
got
kid,
some
I couldn't
real
do it.
queens,
Y'all,
real queens,
y'all
real
make
queens.
y'all make life so much more bearable.
Oh
To
yeah.
be honest with you. But anyways, guys, until next time, horns up, peace out, good
Peace
night,
out. Peace out.
and
Peace
good
out.
luck.
Mhm.
Good night.
Later. Take care.